Our boy gets skewered by a massive blade, realizing his journey ends in this desolate, blood-soaked wasteland. He coughs up blood, the weight of his failure pressing down harder than the steel in his chest. Despite the agony, he looks up and mockingly tells his executioner to just get it over with already. The multi-armed goddess looms over the ruins, a terrifying deity ready to wipe out the last of humanity. Behind that golden mask, she shows no mercy, remaining completely indifferent to the screams of a dying world. She gathers her divine weapons, preparing a final strike that will erase everything the hero fought to protect. With a sudden burst of speed, she descends like a falling star to deliver the final killing blow. His eyes glow one last time before a massive explosion consumes the city, signaling the extinction of man. Turns out, this whole tragedy was just the trash-tier ending of a web novel on some guy's phone. Jae-hyuk sighs in bed, completely dumbfounded that the author chose such a depressing, low-effort conclusion for the story. Jae-hyuk mocks the author, thinking he is the only one keeping this trash-tier story alive with his support. He tosses his phone aside, done with the nonsense and ready to start his actual day. While our boy is busy, a mysterious notification pops up announcing that the worlds are finally merging. By the next morning, the city looks normal, but something feels fundamentally wrong with the atmosphere. Jae-hyuk heads out in his best suit, blending into the crowd while looking completely drained. He curses the housing market, convinced that the lack of affordable flats is just another corporate scam. Suddenly, he stops dead in his tracks, realizing the building he was looking for has literally vanished. He frantically pushes through the crowd, desperate to see if his eyes are playing tricks on him. Turns out, a massive chunk of the city has been erased, leaving nothing but a suspicious white void. Surrounded by weeping neighbors, Jae-hyuk realizes his hard-earned investment has just been deleted from existence. Jae-hyuk wonders if modern construction is just trashed here after seeing a whole building vanish in one night. He heads into his classroom, only to be jumped by a shadow that's way too fast for comfort. Turns out it's just his hyperactive classmate, who greets him like they're cut from the same cloth. The guy starts rambling about the end of the world, making our boy wonder if he's finally snapped. Jae-hyuk just pushes him away, asking if he spent the entire night gaming instead of actually sleeping. His friend insists he's serious, showing him viral posts about buildings being deleted across the entire globe. Jae-hyuk plays it cool and scratches his head, pretending it's all just a series of weird coincidences. But then, his buddy mentions monster attacks, and the atmosphere suddenly feels a lot more gritty. He remembers the novel's hero facing an abyssal monster, a beast that definitely shouldn't be in reality. Recalling the lore, he knows the exact weak point to strike if that wolf-like nightmare ever appears. Our boy tries to keep his cool while clutching his spear, knowing one mistake means certain death. He stares down the snarling beast, realizing he has to end this with a single, perfect strike. The monster lunges forward with a terrifying roar, its claws ready to tear through his tattered armor. His eyes widen as the creature closes the distance, the pressure of the moment reaching a breaking point. With a sudden burst of speed, he leaps high into the air to evade the wolf's lethal charge. He puts everything into a final downward swing, screaming internally for the nightmare to finally end. The spear sinks deep into the creature's spine, blood spraying as the monster's momentum is brutally halted. Panting heavily, he stands over the fallen beast and celebrates what feels like a hard-won victory. But as he watches the body, he starts to feel a sense of dread, questioning if it's truly over. He realizes something is wrong because there's no loot drop or notification, meaning the real threat is still lurking. Our boy just smirks, realizing this trash-tier mutt is actually trying to play dead. He mocks the slick mutt, telling it to quit the act and just stay dead for good. The wolf lets out a final, glitchy howl as its body begins to pixelate into nothingness. In its place, a glowing blue core and a sharp dagger materialize from the digital void. A notification confirms he secured the first kill, rewarding him with the soul of the beast. He lets out a cheer, absolutely hyped that his desperate struggle finally yielded some top-tier loot. Without a second thought, he agrees to use the soul, eager to see what power it holds. Suddenly, a massive crimson shadow of the wolf looms over him as the energy begins to surge. He screams in pure agony while the raw power of the beast forcefully merges with his body. A violent explosion of red mana erupts, signaling the birth of a terrifying new strength. The red aura finally settles as our boy stands tall, feeling the raw power of the wolf's soul. System notifications pop up, confirming a massive 10-fold boost to his strength and doubled reflexes. He can't help but grin, eager to see just how much this first kill reward has changed him. Testing his new durability, he strikes himself only to realize he doesn't feel a single shred of pain. Next, he puts his back into a punch, curious if he can actually break the environment. The ground shatters into a massive crater, leaving him absolutely dumbfounded by his own trash-tier shattering power. Turning his attention to the loot, he wonders what kind of secret effect the abyssal stone holds. Without hesitation, he gulps the stone down, hoping for another top-tier upgrade to his arsenal. His vision shifts as he realizes he might have just unlocked a rare space-type ability. Turns out it's just a basic item box, which is way lamer than the god-tier skill he expected. Our boy checks his new gear, realizing the Sword of the Hunting God doubles his physical stats. Hez especially hyped about the Lacerate effect, which drains a percentage of an enemy's health every second. Since he's the only one who finished the novel, he knows he's currently the strongest human alive. With the second stage starting in 3 days, he's already itching for the next top-tier reward. Returning to school, he finds the classroom buzzing with rumors about the strange anomalies appearing worldwide. Suddenly, his hyperactive classmate Suda comes flying at him with a weirdly intense greeting. Our boy effortlessly sidesteps the tackle, letting the blonde kid crash into the floor like total trash. Suda picks himself up, immediately suspicious that something about his friend's vibe has completely changed. He starts panicking about the global monster sightings, convinced the world is finally going to hell. While the internet is censoring everything, Suda reveals he managed to save a secret video of the chaos. Suda shows off a leaked video featuring a Special Forces soldier who successfully hunted a monster from the Foundations. He is dying to know if our boy realizes the insanity of what happened after the beast was defeated. Apparently, the man gained lightning powers as a reward, and Han Jae-hyuk knows this isn't some trash-tier hoax. Since more monsters are coming, Suda is desperate to awaken his own superpowers and wants to train together. Our boy casually agrees to the plan, leaving the blonde kid completely dumbfounded by his sudden lack of hesitation. Their teacher interrupts the moment, pushing the typical adult agenda by calling the global chaos nothing but fake rumors. Han Jae-hyuk just stares ahead, knowing that in 3 days, the truth will hit everyone like a freight train. Suda looks over at his friend, sensing that Han Jae-hyuk is cut from a completely different cloth lately. As the bell rings, our boy breathes a sigh of relief that the boring, useless lecture is finally over. Before he can leave, Suda pulls him aside, clearly needing to dig deeper into his friend's weirdly calm confidence. Han Jae-hyuk sighs, wondering how to explain the literal end of the world to a normal kid. They head out to the empty school track, the perfect spot for a secret, high-stakes conversation. Taketo demands the truth, sensing that our boy is hiding something massive behind that calm exterior. When Han Jae-hyuk hesitates, the blonde kid goes full drama queen, claiming their friendship is officially dead. He even starts fake crying, desperate to guilt-trip his bestie into finally spilling the beans. Giving in, Han Jae-hyuk makes him promise to keep this a total secret from the rest of the world. Taketo swears on his life, eager to finally see what kind of hidden potential his friend actually has. Our boy tells him to watch closely as he prepares to show off his newly enhanced physical strength. With a casual flick of his fingers, he shatters the solid concrete like it is made of glass. Taketo stands there, completely dumbfounded, realizing his friend has officially ascended past the level of mere mortals. Our boy explains that he snagged this insane power after taking down a monster just yesterday. Taketo is absolutely floored, grabbing his hand like he is witnessing a literal miracle in the flesh. Nearby, a pink-haired student watches the weirdly intimate moment, wondering what the hell is actually going on. She mistakenly thinks they are just flirting, completely oblivious to the world-ending secrets being shared. Han promises to carry his friend through the next raid so he can finally awaken a skill too. Taketo looks a bit shaken, realizing the weight of the life-or-death path his bestie is inviting him onto. With a cold glint in his eyes, Han reminds him that this stays strictly between the two of them. As the school day ends, the calm city hides the chaotic storm brewing just beneath the surface. Han heads out, already calculating his route to an abandoned site where the next rift will soon open. He knows a nasty, agile abyss monkey is waiting there, and he needs to prepare for its speed. Han figures the abyss monkey's defense is basically trash tier, no different from a regular earth monkey. Then there is the abyssal gorilla, a slow tank with massive power that could easily crush a normal person. Our boy knows his stats are superior, planning to carry Taketo by leaving one monster for him. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out to him, breaking his focus on the upcoming raid calculations. It is the kind neighbor he calls Auntie, and he greets her with a rare, genuine smile. She offers him a warm meal, clearly worried about the boy living all on his own these days. Han immediately suspects his scumbag uncle is lurking at his place again, looking for another easy payday. Turns out the trash-tier relative is still trying to steal the house left by Han's late father. He reassures her that he can handle himself, his confidence coming from his newfound godly powers. Walking off, he leaves her dumbfounded by his strength, though he is actually heading toward a literal war zone. Han finally reaches his family home, unaware that trash-tier intruders have already made themselves at home. Inside, his scumbag uncle and cousin are busy trashing the place while drowning themselves in cheap booze. The pink-haired cousin wonders if Han finally ran off for good, clearly hoping he never returns. The drunk uncle just laughs, thinking they can finally live here permanently if the boy stays missing. He even waves around a crumpled paper, claiming he inherited the rights and the house is now his. Their celebration is cut short when the front door slams open, signaling the arrival of the true owner. Our boy steps in with a dark aura, telling the leeches they are insane for messing up his home. The cousin tries to act tough, calling Han a brat while failing to realize he is facing a god. One look at Han's cold, glowing eyes is enough to make the trashy cousin's heart skip a beat. The uncle tries to play the family card, patronizingly calling him a kid while mentioning his late mother. The drunk uncle leans in, patronizingly suggesting that Han should learn to live alone before college starts. He mockingly offers a measly 1,000 yen as pocket money, treating the rightful heir like a common beggar. The trashy cousin loses his patience, screaming at our boy to pack his bags and get out immediately. Han doesn't flinch, coldly stating that they are the ones who should leave for forging the will. The uncle just barks back, daring Han to find proof, while claiming his influence makes a lawsuit impossible. Looking at the trashed room, Han reminds them how they vanished when his parents were desperately struggling. He recalls his mother working 4 jobs while these leeches were busy stealing money for their booze. The uncle remains unfazed, smugly telling Han to either take it to court or vanish right now. From the back, the cousin spits out that Han's mother died as karma for being a greedy gold digger. The trash-tier relative continues his vile rant, calling Han a dog and insulting his late mother's character. Han finally snaps, his eyes glowing with mana as he demands they take back those vile insults. The trashy cousin just laughs, taunting our boy to actually do something instead of just barking. Even the uncle joins in, smugly asking if Han really thinks he can lay hands on his elders. They think they're untouchable, with the cousin even promising to beat Han black and blue for his insolence. Fed up with the noise, Han launches a heavy fist right into his uncle's smug, punchable face. The impact sends the scumbag flying, proving that Han's training has made him far from a normal kid. Seeing his old man go down, the cousin grabs a bottle and charges like a total coward. Our boy doesn't even break a sweat, landing a clean kick that shuts the trashy cousin up instantly. Glass shatters as the bottle hits the floor, leaving both of these leeches groveling in the dirt. Trembling on the floor, the cousin pathetically threatens to report Han, still trying to play the victim. Han heads into his room, telling the trash-tier relatives to do whatever they want for now. Nursing their wounds, the cousin suggests calling Chief Katu to get some violent payback on our boy. Han packs his gear, focused on surviving the next abyss attack and finally avenging his parents. Luggage in hand, he walks past the stunned leeches, done wasting his breath on them. He tells them they can have the house for 3 days, his eyes glowing with cold indifference. The uncle and cousin are left completely dumbfounded by Han's sudden decision to just leave. Rubbing his swollen jaw, the uncle wonders if the kid really just gave up his entire inheritance. The cousin is absolutely fuming, feeling looked down upon and demanding they call in their reinforcements. As the city lights flicker, Han arrives at a hotel to prepare for the impending apocalypse. He books a room for 2 nights, readying himself for the day the world finally breaks. Han reaches the counter where the receptionist asks if he's running away and offers a shady massage service. Our boy turns bright red, realizing this place is sketchy, but it's the closest spot to the Abyss Zone. The lady gets touchy-feely while handing over his card, asking if the young student is just a bit nervous. He quickly snatches the key for room 208 and bolts, wanting to avoid any more trash-tier interactions tonight. Once inside, he realizes the walls are paper-thin as the sounds of extracurricular activities leak into his room. Han collapses onto the bed, cursing his luck, while the neighboring rooms keep him from getting any actual rest. He buries his face in a pillow, telling himself he just needs to endure this for 2 more days. The moans continue to echo through the hallway, making it clear this hotel is anything but a peaceful sanctuary. In another room, Sakura is absolutely losing it, and screams for everyone to just shut their mouths already. Her companion remains calm, reminding her they need to stay close to their objective regardless of the noise. Sakura is absolutely fuming because the noise from the neighboring room is just too much to handle. She turns to her companion, Mio, asking for her professional take on the current situation. Mio just smirks, analyzing the sounds and predicting the guy next door won't last another 10 seconds. Sakura snaps back, clarifying she was talking about their mission at the construction site, not the trash-tier drama. Mio tells her to be more specific next time, leaving the poor girl feeling completely dumbfounded. The mood shifts as Mio reflects on how the world has changed into a monster-infested nightmare. She pledges her full support, urging Sakura to focus on acquiring enough power to survive the coming chaos. Sakura agrees, knowing that being cut from a different cloth means she can't afford to fail now. Suddenly, the noise stops exactly on cue, and Mio gives a smug thumbs up for her perfect timing. Sakura just screams at her to stop being so weird as they try to focus on their objective. 2 days later, the clock hits 11:30 p.m. at a desolate construction site shrouded in eerie moonlight. Our boy Han Jae-hyuk leads his terrified blonde classmate through the shadows, sensing something sinister in the air. Han remains cool, assuring his friend that trash tier stage 2 beasts aren't even worth his time. Despite the reassurance, the blonde kid is shaking in his boots, wondering if they'll actually survive this encounter. The classmate jokingly claims he'll use Han as a decoy to escape, and Han surprisingly just goes along with it. Han deadpans, asking if they are even still friends after a comment like that, while the kid just laughs. Checking his phone, Han notes they have 30 seconds left as his friend wonders about other potential heroes. Han knows from the novel that no one else has realized the world is ending yet, giving him the ultimate edge. Suddenly, his sharp eyes catch a flicker of movement, signaling that the main event is finally starting. Without a word, he drags his friend into cover, preparing to strike before the monsters even know he's there. Our boy's sidekick is absolutely dumbfounded, immediately recognizing the famous Hanashima Sakura standing right before them. Han is genuinely shaken, realizing these two powerful players were never even mentioned in the original novel. He starts connecting the dots, finally understanding the hidden variables that are currently rewriting his reality. It suddenly clicks that the previous hunters didn't just miss the reward, they were brutally slaughtered instead. Mio places a hand on Sakura's shoulder, reassures her, and tells her it is time to move out. The blonde kid whispers that the Hanashima family has massive influence and Mio is likely special police. Hez sweating bullets, worried these newcomers are going to swoop in and steal their precious stage rewards. Han narrows his eyes, determined that he won't let anyone snatch his loot, regardless of their status. Sakura looks down at the marked zone, still finding it hard to believe monsters will actually crawl out. Mio confirms the grim reality, explaining that a magic circle will summon the beasts exactly at midnight. Mio warns Sakura that the monsters about to crawl out are nothing like the weak beasts of this world. To bridge the gap, she prepares a massive explosive meant to leave the creatures on the verge of death. Handing over a sidearm, Mio tells the girl that she needs to be the one to deliver the finish. Sakura takes the weapon with a shaky hand, trying her best to stay composed as the pressure mounts. High above, the blonde kid is shaking like a leaf, finding the whole scene way too scary to handle. Our boy tells him to get a grip, reminding him that power isn't handed out to the weak-willed. Down on the magic circle, Sakura steals her resolve and confirms she is ready to execute the plan. Han watches closely, noting that these two are using trash-tier tools because they haven't awakened any real skills. He realizes that while the bomb might work once, the second monster will only become more violent and unpredictable. With a cold smirk, he decides that no matter their plan, he'll just have to step in and win. Mio watches the timer hit the final seconds, her heart racing as the plan reaches its climax. Both girls lock in, knowing that a single mistake here means they won't make it home tonight. The magic circle begins to pulse with a sinister red energy, signaling the arrival of the rift monsters. Suddenly, the ground trembles as the portal fully opens, unleashing a wave of pure, concentrated mana. Two massive monkeys emerge, and the girls mistakenly think they're lucky to have double the targets. Watching from above, our boy just sighs and calls them idiots for being so overconfident. Mio doesn't hesitate and slams the detonator, hoping the blast is enough to soften the beasts up. A massive explosion rocks the entire facility, turning the center of the magic circle into a fiery hellscape. As the smoke clears, Mio urges Sakura to finish them off before the monsters can recover. Turns out, the big one is still standing and lets out a roar that shakes the foundations. Mio and Sakura are stunned to see the smoke clearing, realizing their trap didn't finish the job. While one of the trash tier monkeys is crushed under the rubble, the other is very much alive. Before they can even regroup, the surviving beast lets out a roar and charges straight for them. Mio immediately opens fire, hoping her bullets can pierce the thick hide of this abyssal nightmare. She grits her teeth in frustration as the monster barely flinches, realizing their firepower is severely lacking. The monkey slams its fist down, forcing Mio to yell for Sakura to run for her life. Fueled by pure rage, the beast bellows again, its red eyes locked onto its prey with murderous intent. A massive shockwave from its strike sends Sakura and Mio flying, completely breaking their tactical formation. The monster grips the shattered concrete, preparing for another devastating leap toward the disoriented pair. As they struggle to find their footing, the alpha monkey closes the distance in a terrifying display of speed. Mio collapses, her body failing as she desperately begs Sakura to leave her behind and save herself. Sakura can only watch in horror, her legs frozen as the weight of their failure finally sinks in. The trash tier beast towers over her, its shadow swallowing her whole as it prepares the final blow. Seeing her partner about to be crushed, Mio screams out in a futile attempt to stop the inevitable. Sakura shuts her eyes tight, accepting her fate as the monster's massive fist descends with bone-shattering force. Suddenly, a violent boom echoes through the ruins, signaling a power far beyond these amateur agents. The shockwave sends the alpha monkey reeling back, its predatory momentum completely halted by an unexpected interference. Out of the smoke, our boy appears, casually absorbing the impact while complaining that the strike actually stung. Sakura looks up, completely dumbfounded that a random student just stood between her and certain death. Mio rushes over to her side, both of them staring at the mysterious savior who just changed the game. Han tells the girls to beat it because they are just dead weight against this trash-tier beast. Sakura stares at him through tears, completely dumbfounded that this specific student is standing in front of her. He doesn't have time for a reunion, insisting they need to clear out before things get even messier. Suddenly, the alpha monkey lunges from the shadows, its eyes locked onto our boy with murderous intent. Han reacts instantly, meeting the beast mid-air with a heavy kick that sends shockwaves through the room. He doesn't let up, grabbing the monster's chains to ensure it can't escape his next brutal move. Letting out a primal roar, he pours every ounce of his power into his grip to overwhelm it. With a violent heave, he hurls the massive gorilla across the arena like it is absolutely nothing. Despite the display, he realizes that even with 10 times his normal strength, he is only barely keeping pace. Knowing he can't drag this out, he manifests a glowing blade of mana to finally end this nightmare. The alpha monkey is visibly shaken, realizing it is no longer the apex predator in this room. Our boy doesn't give it a second to breathe, diving in with his mana blade to finish the job. He carves through the beast's defenses, knowing one clean strike is all it takes to end this. The monster lets out a final, desperate howl as it realizes its reign of terror is officially over. With a final burst of dark energy, Han completely obliterates the trash-tier creature once and for all. A system notification pops up, congratulating him for being the first human to take down a Stage 2 threat. As the beast dissolves into nothingness, Han lands gracefully, barely even breaking a sweat from the encounter. Amidst the dissipating mana, a rare item drops, proving that high-risk hunts always come with high-tier rewards. Sakura and the agent stand there completely dumbfounded, unable to process the sheer power they just witnessed. Han just flashes a cocky grin and tells them to quit stalling and get down there already. The agent panics about the height, but our boy just calls them useless for being so completely helpless. Without a second thought, Han grabs his terrified classmate and leaps straight down into the dark abyss below. They land near the defeated trash-tier beast, and Han demands the blonde kid deliver the final killing blow. The kid freezes up, realizing that becoming a real hunter is way more brutal than any video game. The injured agent watches them, thanking Han for saving Sakura, but clearly eyeing the valuable monster corpse. Sakura leans on her partner, still reeling from the fact that a random student just totally outclassed them. Han makes it clear he isn't handing over his hard-earned loot to some government lapdogs for free. Desperate to secure the specimen, the agent tries to bribe him with some unbelievably good rewards and conditions. Even the blonde classmate thinks they should listen, hoping to avoid any more trouble with the authorities. Han stays firm, reminding them he did the heavy lifting while his friend needs the vital experience points. Our boy hands over the blade, forcing the terrified classmate to finally take a life. With a desperate thrust, the kid ends the trash-tier beast, finally crossing the line into being a hunter. The system rewards him for the kill, dropping some high-tier loot that looks way too good for a rookie. Even with the beast dead, the blonde kid is still shaking, worried the monster might suddenly spring back up. Han just tells him to stop being a baby and wrap things up before more trouble arrives. Realizing they're outmatched, the agents decide to retreat, promising this isn't the last time they'll meet. The white-haired agent admits Han knows more than she does, practically begging him for future tactical support. Han weighs the options while she offers him literally anything in exchange for his elite help. She gets serious, explaining that her family's honor depends on keeping this city safe from the coming rift. Han gives a non-committal answer, telling them to clear out before he changes his mind about being helpful. The agents finally head out, thanking our boy and asking him to get in touch later. Han lets out a long sigh of relief, glad to finally have some breathing room. He hands a glowing soul stone to the blonde kid, telling him to consume it for a boost. Our boy swallows his own loot, feeling a sudden, violent surge of power deep within his soul. The system confirms he has gained the lone wolf strength, though the stat increases feel a bit underwhelming. He tests his new reflexes with a few quick strikes, feeling slightly faster but not quite satisfied yet. Han turns to the kid and asks what kind of skill he ended up with after that kill. The blonde classmate looks totally defeated, admitting his eagle eye skill is basically useless for actual fighting. Han gives him a reassuring pat, telling him that having a scout's vision is actually a massive win. He hands over a fire-enchanted slingshot, explaining that this little tool will finally give him some real teeth. Han smiles to himself, thinking a fire attribute is a top-tier choice for a beginner's growth. He turns to the kid, curious about what kind of special perks that new weapon actually holds. The blonde classmate excitedly explains his precision skill, which ensures every shot finds its mark perfectly. He gives a grateful thumbs up, realizing he would be monster food without Han's help tonight. As they walk off, Han warns that the world they knew will be completely gone by morning. The city lights flicker below, totally unaware of the rift monsters lurking in the dark corners. In a getaway car, The white-haired agent apologizes for letting the situation spiral out of control. She remains suspicious of their savior and plans to dig into the kid's background immediately. The name Suda sticks in her throat as she realizes he is way too strong for a student. After a long night of carrying the team, our boy finally reaches a hotel to catch some sleep. Our boy and his buddy settle into a sketchy hotel, greeted by some very questionable noises next door. The blonde classmate is skeptical about the room, but Han tells him to just suck it up. Money is on the kid's mind as he wonders if they're actually broke after seeing this dump. Han explains that while he has cash, currency will be totally worthless once the world ends tomorrow. The blonde classmate gets a trashy idea, flashing a creepy grin that catches Han off guard. Han immediately panics and tells him there's no way he's letting him call for any special company. His buddy just laughs, calling Han a quiet lecher for even knowing what he was implying. Their banter is cut short by a loud knock at the door, announcing the arrival of their food. Han decides to just eat and sleep, knowing the world will be unrecognizable when they finally wake up. As he grabs the delivery, the hotel receptionist struts past, unaware that her normal life is almost over. Our boy barely steps out before he's nearly blinded by a stunning woman with a massive rose tattoo. They lock eyes in the hallway, and Han feels the weight of her gaze as she passes him by. He quickly realizes he was staring and tries to play it cool, though his face is bright red. Once back inside, he lets out a sigh of relief, glad to have avoided any more awkward social interactions. While digging into their meal, Han drops the bombshell that the sun will vanish at exactly 8 tomorrow. He explains that an emerald sun will take its place, marking the moment the abyss claims the earth. The world will be bathed in green light, as a terrifying voice announces humanity's new, hellish reality. Panic will finally force world leaders to stop playing games and hold an emergency international conference. As the chaos spreads, powerful awakened humans will finally step out of the shadows to show their true strength. Governments will scramble to form special response teams, but our boy knows they're just delaying the inevitable. Scientists will eventually collaborate to build specialized weapons, but our boy knows it is a losing battle. Even the most advanced tech won't stop the abyssal monsters from turning the world into a graveyard. While they eat, the blonde classmate wonders if they are the only ones holding such massive power. Han casually explains there are roughly 200 users, ranking his buddy at a solid 30. Suddenly, Han senses a shift in the atmosphere, his expression turning sharp as his instincts scream danger. The blonde classmate is completely dumbfounded, struggling to believe he is actually among the world's elite. Sensing something is wrong, Han stands up abruptly while his friend asks what is going on. Our boy does not waste time and bolts for the door, telling his buddy he will be right back. Left in the dust, the classmate becomes convinced that Han is actually a high-tier reincarnator. He starts crying over his meal, feeling totally cheated that he was not the one reborn with cheat codes. Han reaches the lobby, where the receptionist clarifies that the mysterious beauty isn't one of their regular girls. She mentions a freelancer who operates on her own schedule, which immediately grabs our boy's full attention. The woman wonders why such a high-class lady would stay here when she could afford much better places. Han's instincts flare up as he realizes this mysterious freelancer is exactly the person he's looking for. The receptionist is clearly caught off guard, wondering how a kid like him could possibly know her. Our boy doesn't hesitate and asks which room the woman is currently staying in to make his move. She tries to maintain a shred of professionalism, claiming she can't divulge private information about their guests. Knowing money talks, Han slams a fat stack of cash onto the counter to change her mind. The bribe works instantly, and she happily points him toward room 502 with a greedy smile. Han walks away, jokingly offering her a job if she gets fired for leaking the guest's secret location. Han heads to the 5th floor, while recalling the legendary powerhouses known as the 12 Stars. Among them is the Destroyer of Scorpio, a woman so powerful she ranks in the top 5. Her name is a mystery. Her signature rose tattoo is a dead giveaway of her identity. She has a reputation for being absolutely brutal, keeping men as prisoners in her own private dungeon. Our boy realizes the mysterious woman he saw earlier fits the description of the man-hating Scorpio perfectly. He reaches her room but hesitates, wondering how he can possibly convince such a dangerous woman to cooperate. Knowing she despises men, he breaks a sweat, thinking about the high risk of getting his head ripped off. Suddenly, the door clicks open before he can even knock, catching him completely off guard. The red-haired woman steps out and looks at him, clearly surprised to see him standing there. She recognizes him from the hallway, and wonders why the kid from earlier is lingering outside her door. Han immediately starts apologizing for his unannounced visit, trying to play it cool despite his mounting nerves. The dangerous woman grabs his face, teasingly asking if he's been following her like some common stalker. Our boy turns bright red, stammering out a denial, while his heart hammers against his ribs. She leans in close, whispering that she charges a steep price for a single round of her time. Terrified of her reputation, Han bolts down the hallway, shouting that she's got the completely wrong idea. She watches him flee, realizing there's something off about him and deciding it's time to move on. Back in the room, Han can't stop thinking about the encounter while his classmate sleeps like a log. Morning arrives far too soon, and the blonde high schooler looks absolutely trashed as he finally wakes up. He begs for a few more minutes of sleep, but Han is already staring out at the horizon. Our boy tells him to move it, knowing the world as they know it ends in 60 seconds. Han watches the horizon while his buddy scrambles up, sensing the final countdown has hit 0. The blonde high schooler is absolutely dumbfounded, realizing the nightmare Han described is actually happening. High above the city, a sickening green rift tears through the sky, signaling the end of normalcy. Our boy narrows his eyes, thinking to himself that the world's transformation is finally starting. An eerie green glow washes over the streets, catching every unsuspecting citizen off guard. People rub their eyes in disbelief, wondering if they've finally lost it, or if they're just tired. Panic starts to bubble as the crowd confirms the sun has turned a toxic shade of green. The atmosphere screams as the celestial anomaly pulses, preparing to vomit out the first wave of horrors. Elsewhere, the red-haired woman grumbles about her lack of sleep after her weird encounter with Han. She stops dead in her tracks, her purple eyes widening as she spots the emerald sun overhead. The red-haired woman recalls her teacher's words about colorblindness, wondering if her eyes are finally failing her. She reaches toward the emerald sky, mesmerized by the deadly beauty of the world's end. As the green sun pulses, a mysterious force begins to resonate with the chosen few below. Suddenly, her vision shifts to the Scorpio constellation, signaling the arrival of her true awakening. The celestial scorpion burns into her iris as the destroyer of Scorpio's legacy finally takes root. The sudden influx of divine power is too much to handle, making her stumble as her vision swims. She collapses onto the pavement, her suitcase clattering as bystanders watch the first of the awakened fall. Back at the hotel, Han Jae-hyuk tells the blonde classmate to brace himself for the coming storm. A mocking voice echoes through everyone's minds, calling humanity filthy while announcing a cruel, transformative gift. The entity explains that some humans now hold power beyond imagination, forever changing the rules of survival. The voice in the sky promises that humanity is about to experience a literal living hell. It mockingly labels this slaughter the Abyssal War, treating the end of the world like a mere game. Massive teleportation circles begin to bridge the gap between Earth and the nightmare realm of the Abyss. Legions of abyssal monsters wait in the shadows, promised godlike power if they can just crush every human. Even elite agents like Sakura and her partner feel the crushing weight of the coming extinction. Across the city, hidden, awakened humans realize their quiet lives are over as the portals start to tear. High-ranking figures and their subordinates can only watch as the rules of their world are rewritten. The entity grins, making it clear that humanity loses the moment the last living thing is devoured. Deciding it has talked enough, the monster prepares to let the chaos unfold without any further spoilers. With a final, mocking wish for luck, the entity vanishes, leaving the world to face its new reality. The sky turns into a swirling nightmare as the abyssal energy begins to choke the horizon. Back at the hotel, our boy's classmate is losing his mind, desperately asking if humanity even stands a chance. Han remains silent, his mind flashing back to the divine carnage and the monsters he knows are coming. He finally looks up, telling the kid that if they work together, they might actually pull through. The blonde kid is completely dumbfounded, wondering why a regular high schooler sounds so confident about the apocalypse. Meanwhile, in the country of Novalis, top officials admit that Earth has officially become a playground for monsters. A hot-headed general slams the table, insisting they should just blast those trash-tier creatures with everything they've got. Matsumoto believes the army is the only solution, hoping to wipe them out without losing any more civilians. But another official cuts him off, reminding the room that their standard guns didn't do squat against the last boss. Ito Ryota sighs, admitting they have no clue if their weapons will even scratch the next nightmare that spawns. Matsumoto snaps, demanding to know what they're even supposed to do if their weapons are useless. E2 pushes his glasses up, suggesting they assemble a super squad of awakened humans to handle the mess. The big boss thinks it's a solid plan, but worries about how they'll actually recruit these powerful individuals. He then tasks Matsumoto with maintaining order, knowing the public will lose their minds once the truth drops. The room echoes with a unified salute as the officials prepare to mobilize their last line of defense. Meanwhile, our boy Han explains to his buddy that the government is already planning to form an elite team. The blonde kid looks nervous, asking if they're actually going to sign up and join the official ranks. Han shuts that down immediately, stating they'll be operating as independent mercenaries instead of government pawns. He remembers from the novel that the original hero got screwed over by red tape and lost his freedom. While the government offers perks, Han knows keeping their autonomy is vital, unaware they're being watched by Sakura. Taketo wonders where they are heading next since they are ditching the official government recruitment. Our boy explains he needs to handle some personal business before their intense training begins. Taketo gets a bit curious, wondering exactly what kind of business Han has to settle first. He makes a throat-slitting gesture, asking if Han is planning to finally finish off his scumbag uncle. Han remains silent, his expression darkening as he contemplates the messy family ties he needs to sever. Taketo promises to stay by his side, but warns him not to cross the line into becoming a criminal. Han simply acknowledges the warning, though the weight of his future knowledge clearly hangs heavy on him. He flashes a confident smirk, deciding he will handle the situation in his own unique way. Meanwhile, the trash-tier relatives are busy drinking and complaining about the timing of the monster invasion. The cousin crushes his drink in a rage, blaming Han for not handing over the property sooner. The scumbag uncle tries to drink his worries away, telling himself to just enjoy the moment. He has already polished off a mountain of cans, but the alcohol isn't enough to drown his greed. When the booze runs dry, he starts barking orders for more, completely unaware of the looming shadow. Suddenly, a blade flashes through the air, ending the trashy cousin's life before he can even blink. The uncle loses it, screaming in terror as he realizes his son has been wiped from existence. He falls back in pure shock when our boy steps into the light, looking like a literal reaper. Han's eyes glow with a cold, murderous intent as he tells the old man he is the next target. The uncle screams that this is a crime, but Han simply admits that he already knows. Desperate to survive, the coward tries to play the family card, begging for his miserable life. Han just scoffs at the word family, remembering exactly how these leeches treated him in the past. Han explodes with rage, accusing the trash-tier relative of driving his mother to an early grave for money. He looms over the coward, demanding to know how he could live without a shred of guilt. The uncle starts blubbering, offering a secret in exchange for his miserable life. Our boy isn't buying it and prepares to send the old man to the afterlife. Just as the blade is about to fall, the uncle screams that he knows the truth about his mother. Han freezes in his tracks, the mention of his mother's death hitting him like a physical blow. The room goes dead silent as the uncle repeats that he knows exactly who killed her. Han's eyes ignite with a cold blue flame as he demands the name of the killer. The coward reveals it was a high-ranking official's nephew who struck her while drunk driving. Han narrows his eyes, wondering how this bottom feeder could have possibly obtained such classified information. The uncle blubbers about how he blackmailed the police chief to get rich off the cover-up. Our boy finally connects the dots, realizing why the law turned a blind eye to his mother's death. The trash-tier relative begs for mercy, thinking his confession bought him a one-way ticket to safety. He even has the audacity to feel resentful, swearing he'll never forgive Han for this humiliation. But his relief is short-lived as a sudden, sharp pain explodes in the center of his chest. Turns out Han isn't the type to leave loose ends, especially when it comes to family blood debts. The blade sinks deep, ensuring this parasite will never breathe another word of his filthy secrets. Han just smirks, satisfied that justice has finally been served in the most permanent way possible. Suddenly, his blonde classmate bursts in, looking completely dumbfounded at the bloody scene before him. Han coldly tells him to look away, reminding him that in this new world, one more body doesn't matter. Han decides it's time to grind, telling his student they'll be honing that eagle-eye skill for weeks. Our boy starts packing the essentials, knowing they can't afford to be unprepared for the coming chaos. He looks his student in the eye, making sure the kid is truly ready for this hellish training. They seal their pact with a fist bump, ready to face the apocalypse as a united front. 2 weeks later, Sakura and her partner discuss how Shiju remains a total enigma despite his help. The agent notes that her investigation turned up nothing but a history of dealing with some trash-tier relatives. They reach the abandoned factory Han mentioned, feeling the weight of the mystery surrounding their supposed ally. Sakura's eyes widen as she spots something ahead, realizing they aren't as alone as they thought. The car speeds toward the desolate facility where the next stage of their mission is set to unfold. A mysterious man watches from the shadows, wondering who these intruders are and what they want. The black SUV screeches to a halt right in front of the factory where a familiar face waits. Sakura and the agent step out, immediately spotting the blonde student who seems to be expecting them. Taketo flashes a cocky grin and welcomes them, looking far more confident than the last time they met. The duo just stares back with pure suspicion, clearly not buying his sudden change in vibe. Sakura's eyes widen as she starts piecing together that this isn't the same weak kid she once knew. She and the agent are completely dumbfounded, questioning if this confident guy is actually the same Asahi Taketo. Taketo just laughs it off and strikes a pose, asking if they really forgot about him so quickly. The agent realizes that obtaining power has completely transformed his mannerisms, making him feel like a different person. He effortlessly catches his gear, showing off the new reflexes he's honed during his secret training sessions. Finally, our boy Han Jae-hyuk walks up and tells Taketo to stop playing around and get moving. The group piles into the vehicle as our boy Han Jae-hyuk prepares for the next phase. Taketo can't help but feel himself, acting all cool now that he's finally got some real power. Once they're settled, the agent takes the wheel and asks where their mysterious guide wants to go. Han reveals that the third portal is set to manifest right in the underground lot of the ruins. Accepting his intel without question, the agent hits the gas and sets off toward the designated coordinates. By the time they reach the Twin Towers, the moon is high, and the deadline is fast approaching. They arrive at the desolate parking structure, finding the exact spot where the abyss will soon break through. The agent is impressed, noting that Han's prediction about the location was spot on. Han remains cautious, asking her to scan the area for any civilians who might get caught in the crossfire. She confirms the place is a ghost town, meaning they can go all out without any witnesses. Han warns the group that a rank 3 monster is coming, and they should focus solely on defense. Takedo gets cocky, reminding Han that he is also an awakened user who can handle himself in combat. Our boy shuts down the ego trip immediately, putting his student in a headlock to keep him focused. Right on cue, the clock strikes midnight, and the abyss begins to tear through the fabric of reality. Han senses the shift in the air, knowing the real fight is finally about to begin. From the shadows, Sakura and the agent watch closely, hoping to see the mysterious mercenary in action. A massive, disgusting purple entity crawls out of the rift, oozing with pure abyssal energy. Taketo is completely dumbfounded by the creature's size. Realizing this isn't some trash-tier mob, Han commands his student to hold his ground, knowing that fear is the quickest way to get killed. Drawing his blade, Han prepares to carry the team while testing if Taketo actually learned anything. Taketo checks his gear, recalling the slime's attack patterns involving corrosive acid and those nasty tentacles. He plans to shred the tentacles first, asking our boy to follow up with the finishing blow. The massive purple blob towers over them, looking like something straight out of a trash-tier horror novel. Even after all that training, Taketo can't help but feel disgusted by the creature's wriggling, slimy body. Han keeps his cool, reminding his student that they need to end this quickly before things get messy. Suddenly, the beast lashes out, sending its massive tentacles whipping through the air with lethal speed. The duo barely manages to dodge as the purple limbs crash down, shattering the ground beneath them. Activating his eagle eye, Taketo locks on and starts blasting away, determined to tear the monster to pieces. While the student provides cover fire, Han effortlessly carves through the remaining tentacles like they were nothing. With the path clear, our boy leaps high into the air, aiming his blade right for the monster's eye. Han carves through the slime, knowing this trash-tier mob is just a warm-up. The beast falls into pieces, but our boy remains alert for any hidden surprises. Sensing spectators, Han demands that the two hiding agents finally show their faces. He tells Sakura to finish it off, testing if she's actually cut from the same cloth. She raises her dagger, though her trembling hands betray how out of her league she feels. Taketo suddenly screams a warning, sensing a massive threat descending from above. The agents are dumbfounded as a blinding light tears through the ceiling without warning. Han moves like a blur, grabbing Sakura just as a massive explosion shatters the concrete. He holds her close while the others brace themselves, wondering who just tried to kill them. As the dust settles, a mysterious voice mocks them for actually managing to dodge that strike. The scarred intruder smirks, deciding to let them off just this once despite his initial murderous intent. He walks forward with total confidence, declaring that the target in this area now belongs to him. A grotesque purple monster separates the two parties, serving as a buffer in this tense three-way standoff. Han shoots a sharp look at the agent, calling out her trash-tier intel for being completely unreliable. The agent is visibly shaken, offering a desperate apology for failing to realize they weren't alone. The mysterious man grows impatient, bluntly telling the group to get lost before he loses his temper. Han realizes this guy shouldn't be here yet, noting that the original book's timeline is officially broken. With his mana surging, our boy prepares to take him down even if it's ahead of schedule. They close the distance until they're standing face to face, neither side willing to back down an inch. The intruder mocks Han for being frozen in fear, while Han worries about the growing butterfly effect. Han lets out a tired sigh, clearly annoyed that he has to deal with this unexpected variable. The intruder just smirks, mockingly asking why our boy is acting so exhausted before the fight even starts. Cracking his knuckles, Han admits he already saw a mess like this coming thanks to his future knowledge. Their powers collide in a violent burst, sending shockwaves as Han feels the intruder's insane physical pressure. The mysterious man wears a trash-tier grin, admitting that the brat in front of him is actually pretty good. Sliding back to gain distance, Han realizes the enemy is using high-level manipulation to control those deadly iron spheres. Sensing an opening, Han shouts for Taketo to strike, while the intruder is distracted by their initial clash. Taketo doesn't hesitate, unleashing a hail of bullets aimed directly at the arrogant man's vitals. The intruder effortlessly deflects every shot, using his floating spheres like an impenetrable shield against the gunfire. He laughs, admitting he never imagined two kids could actually put up such a decent fight against him. Taketo unleashes a mana-infused shot, determined to take the intruder down with a single, fiery blast. The intruder remains arrogant, certain his iron spheres can easily deflect such a predictable attack. Turns out he's wrong. As the bullet shatters his defenses and strikes him with overwhelming force, he collapses in pain, clutching his shoulder while realizing these kids aren't the pushovers he expected. Fuming with rage, the mysterious man refuses to accept that a couple of brats actually drew blood. Han Jae-hyuk calmly tells him to stop resisting, promising they won't kill him if he just cooperates. Instead of surrendering, the intruder suddenly lunges forward with a desperate burst of explosive speed. Our boy Han prepares to block, but quickly realizes the man isn't even aiming for him. The villain wears a trash-tier grin as he closes the distance on a completely dumbfounded Taketo. Before the student can raise his weapon, the intruder strikes, proving he still has some fight left. The intruder's explosive speed creates a massive shockwave, proving he's far more dangerous than his initial injuries suggested. Our boy Han Jae-hyuk screams for his student to move while desperately throwing himself into the line of fire. Unfortunately, the villain is a step ahead, grabbing Han's face and slamming him into the dirt with ease. Han struggles to catch his breath, realizing this mysterious variable is operating on a completely different level of power. The intruder stands tall, his eyes burning with a purple glow that signals he's done playing around with brats. He immediately follows up with a brutal punch, catching Han right in the jaw before he can even recover. Another strike lands with a sickening thud, making it clear that Han's current defenses are basically paper thin. The man unleashes a relentless barrage of blows, determined to beat our boy into a pulp for drawing blood. He mocks Han's physical boost skill, laughing because even with extra mana, the boy is still just trash tier. Sakura and the white-haired agent stand frozen in shock, realizing their only hope is currently being used as a punching bag. The mysterious intruder turns his attention to the girls, warning them to stay exactly where they are. He doesn't wait for an answer, delivering a heavy blow that sends the white-haired agent reeling in pain. Standing over the fallen agent, he tells Sakura to stay smart and avoid doing anything unnecessary. He looks around the wreckage, satisfied that he's made his point while the dead slime monster rots nearby. Cracking his neck, the man casually suggests they get their friend to a hospital before things get worse. But our boy isn't finished yet, his eyes glowing with a renewed mana that screams he's still in the fight. Han charges forward with insane speed, catching the arrogant intruder completely off guard with a sudden counterattack. The man is absolutely dumbfounded, unable to comprehend how Han is standing there completely unscathed after that beating. Before he can process the shock, Han delivers a devastating kick that sends the villain spinning through the air. The impact is massive, launching the mysterious variable backward as the tables finally start to turn. The mysterious intruder coughs up blood, realizing too late that he severely underestimated our boy's hidden potential. Han catches his breath, his body screaming from the strain of pushing his mana past its absolute limits. Ignoring the trash-tier villain, Han rushes over to check on Taketo, who's looking pretty rough after the collision. He helps his student up, while Taketo dizzily asks if they actually managed to pull off the impossible. Taketo flexes his wrist, relieved that his hellish training kept his bones from shattering like glass during the fight. The duo turns their attention back to the dying slime monster, while Sakura tends to the injured agent nearby. Sakura doesn't hesitate, plunging her blade into the core of the beast to finish it off for good. Han scoops up the unconscious agent and hands Sakura a glowing stone, telling her to consume it immediately. As the mana flows through her, Sakura feels a surge of power, wondering if this is her true awakening. The group starts moving out, leaving the wreckage behind as Sakura scrambles to keep up with the others. The mysterious intruder lies in the dirt, feeling the stinging pain of a defeat he never saw coming. He stares at the crater, wondering how a mere brat could possess such overwhelming, monstrous power. Still reeling, he pulls out his phone to report the mess he's made in the empty parking garage. He admits his failure over the line, complaining that his face is an absolute wreck thanks to those kids. Limping away, he tells his contact they'll finish the conversation once he's back at the home base. The night air is cold as he finally reaches a secluded hideout, still fuming over the humiliating loss. He kicks the door open in a fit of rage, unable to contain how incredibly pissed off he feels. Inside, the red-haired woman mocks his appearance, asking who could have possibly turned him into a punching bag. Their leader is just as shocked, barely managing to swallow his drink while questioning if someone that strong exists. The intruder explains that one kid was a crack shot, while the other simply beat him to a pulp. The leader ponders recruiting the kids, realizing their strengthening skills would be a massive asset to their forces. Still nursing his bruised ego, the intruder snaps back that he wants absolutely nothing to do with them. The boss turns to the red-haired woman, casually asking if she wants to take a crack at them instead. She slams the table in a rage, reminding him for the 100th time to address her as Scorpio. The intruder just smirks, mockingly questioning why a babe like her is so obsessed with such a codename. That was the wrong move, as her hand instantly ignites with a lethal pink aura aimed at his throat. She gives him one final warning to watch his mouth before she decides to end his miserable life. Instead of backing down, His eyes glow with a dangerous purple light as he dares her to try. The leader finally steps in to break it off, sighing about how exhausting it is managing trash-tier tempers. He makes it clear that if the intruder acts up again, there won't be a next time for him. The mercenary leader's eye glows with a terrifying light as he promises to personally punish their blatant insubordination. Both the intruder and Scorpio are completely dumbfounded, realizing they've finally pushed the big boss too far. Scorpio immediately switches gears, playfully apologizing and promising that her trash-tier attitude won't resurface again. The intruder stares in cold silence, finally understanding that he's dealing with a literal demon in human skin. The boss orders Scorpio to return soon, making it clear that anyone refusing to join must be eliminated. Scorpio smirks with a dangerous resolve, fully prepared to execute the mission and wipe out any potential obstacles. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a medical facility where our boy is finally checking on his battered team. The doctor delivers the good news that the agent's internal organs are surprisingly intact despite the brutal beating. Sakura lets out a massive sigh of relief, thankful that she'll be back on her feet in weeks. Even the blonde classmate gets a pass, with the doctor confirming he only suffered some minor muscle tears. Takedo tries to act tough, flexing his arm and claiming he is perfectly fine to keep moving. But his body immediately betrays him, as a sharp throb of pain pulses through his bandaged limb. He collapses in a heap, leaving Sakura and Han wondering if their boy is actually going to pull through. The doctor exits the room, reminding them to hit the call button if his condition suddenly takes a dive. Suddenly, a chilling global broadcast warns the agent and Sakura that the abyss can manifest anywhere at any time. Powerful variables across the globe realize the world's scale has changed as the entity explains the new rules. Even the wealthy elites are dumbfounded, learning that humanity must hunt every abyss seed to survive this game. If they fail, the abyssal entity gleefully promises that the entire Earth will simply become its next meal. It decides to keep the rest a secret, knowing that giving away too much would ruin the fun. With a final mocking wish for a fun game, the monster's terrifying presence looms over the silent city. The purple mist finally vanishes, leaving the city in a state of absolute, chilling silence. Back in the room, the blonde classmate looks at Han and desperately asks if humanity even stands a chance. Han remains silent, his mind racing through the horrific endings he read about in the original novel. He recalls the Asura goddess and the total extinction he is desperately trying to prevent this time. With a heavy gaze, our boy vows that they definitely won't lose during this second chance. The blonde classmate is left dumbfounded, wondering why Han sounds like he has already lived through a failed apocalypse. Meanwhile, world leaders are forced to admit that Earth has officially become a playground for abyssal monsters. Zhou Wanli slams the table, refusing to believe any trash-tier monster can withstand a full military bombardment. He suggests an immediate military intervention, convinced that human firepower is still the ultimate solution. However, Wang Wenfeng warns that these creatures are already evolving to resist their most powerful heat weapons. Zhou Wanli demands a solution, so Wang Wenfeng steps up with a radical proposal for the council. He suggests gathering all ability users into an Esper squad to combat the growing abyssal threat directly. The head representative agrees, noting that these uncontrollable factors are better off under their strict management. He puts Wang Feng in charge of the squad while tasking Zhou Wanli with maintaining domestic order. The room erupts in agreement as the government officially begins its desperate mobilization against the coming apocalypse. Walking through the city, our boy predicts that the world will soon form specialized anti-abyss organizations. The blonde classmate is shocked, wondering if they are actually going to sign up and join them. Han shakes his head, deciding they'll operate as independent mercenaries to keep their hands untied. He remembers how the novel's original hero lost everything because government red tape restricted his every move. While the official path has perks, Han knows that true survival requires the total freedom to act. The blonde classmate looks at our boy, wondering what their next move is in this crumbling world. Han explains they have 2 weeks before the next wave, meaning they need some serious training to survive. But before that, Han mentions he has some personal business to settle, making his student visibly uneasy. The kid catches on quick, asking if this business involves finally taking out his trash-tier uncle. Han doesn't say a word, but his cold gaze confirms that some blood debts are long overdue. His student promises his loyalty, though he begs Han not to turn into the very villain they're fighting. Our boy pauses, realizing how his quest for vengeance might look to someone who still believes in heroes. He gives a reassuring smile, telling the kid not to worry about him losing his humanity just yet. Meanwhile, the scumbag uncle is busy drinking away his stolen wealth, annoyed that the apocalypse is ruining his fun. His trashy son joins in, crushing a can while wishing death on the cousin they've already wronged so much. Stafa. The uncle tells his son to enjoy their time together, completely unaware of the shadow looming over them. He keeps chugging drinks, trying to drown out the reality of the world ending outside his stolen walls. Suddenly, he notices the kid can't handle his liquor anymore. unaware that death has already claimed his son. A dark, suffocating aura fills the room as the cousin is suddenly consumed by Han's overwhelming killing intent. The uncle lets out a pathetic scream when a cold blade suddenly grazes his neck out of thin air. Our boy finally makes his entrance, sending the trash-tier uncle tumbling while the cousin lies slumped on the couch. Han stares him down with those glowing eyes, coldly announcing that it is finally the old man's turn. The uncle panics, accusing Han of committing a crime, while the reality of his son's death sinks in. He tries to play the family card, desperately claiming that blood is thicker than water to save his skin. Han just scoffs at the mention of family, remembering exactly how these parasites treated him when he was alone. Han explodes with rage, reminding the parasite how they bullied his mother and even cursed her while she died. He looms over the coward, questioning their definition of family after they stole everything from a dying woman. The uncle starts sobbing like a child, desperately offering a shocking secret in exchange for his miserable life. Our boy isn't buying it, preparing to send this trash-tier relative straight to the afterlife for a family reunion. In a final act of desperation, the uncle claims he knows the truth about who really killed Han's mom. Han freezes, his glowing eyes widening as a piece of his past he thought was settled suddenly resurfaces. The room goes silent while the uncle cowers, realizing he has finally found the one thing that might save him. His mana flares up in a dark aura as he demands to know the name of the killer immediately. The coward reveals it was Director Wang's nephew, claiming the man was drunk when he struck Han's mother down. Han grits his teeth in pure hatred, wondering how this piece of trash could possibly have known the truth. The coward explains he's been living off this blackmail for years after catching the director's slip-up. Our boy finally understands why the investigation hit a dead end despite all his efforts. Thinking he's bought his freedom, the trash-tier relative tries to scurry away like a rat. He looks back with a cold sweat, realizing Han never actually promised to let him live. Fear consumes him as he realizes his life is forfeit, regardless of the secrets he spilled. Suddenly, he collapses to his knees, his body failing as the weight of his sins catches up. With a swift, merciless strike, Han's blade pierces right through the man's treacherous heart. Han just smirks and cleans his weapon, feeling a grim sense of satisfaction from the kill. The blonde classmate walks in and stands dumbfounded at the sight of the fresh corpse. Han tells his student to toughen up because this is just a small taste of their new reality. Han tells his student to pack up, claiming 2 weeks is enough to master his eagle eye ability. Our boy and the blonde classmate gear up, ready to leave their temporary sanctuary behind for the real world. Han asks if he's truly prepared for the carnage, and the kid responds with a sharp, gritty grin. They seal their pact with a fist bump, officially stepping into the nightmare that has become their new reality. 2 weeks later, Sakura and the white-haired agent are driving, discussing the mysterious man they're supposed to help. The agent admits her investigation hit a wall, proving that Han's background is anything but simple or ordinary. As they reach the abandoned factory Han mentioned, the tension in the car becomes thick enough to cut. Sakura looks completely dumbfounded, her mind racing with questions about the true identity of the man they're following. They pull up to the site, but the eerie silence of the area suggests something is very wrong. Suddenly, a mysterious figure in a long coat appears, making Sakura wonder who this new threat could be. The SUV screeches to a halt as our boy's student waits patiently by the abandoned factory. Sakura and the agent step out, immediately sensing a strange, powerful aura coming from the spiky-haired kid. Takedo greets them with a cocky grin, looking like a completely different person than the weakling they knew. The girls just stare him down, trying to process how a mere student evolved into this powerhouse. Sakura is absolutely dumbfounded, her mind struggling to bridge the gap between the past and this new reality. She remembers him as a regular high schooler and can't believe this is actually the same person. He just laughs it off, teasing them for failing to recognize their own ally after only a few days. The agent realizes that while awakening changes everyone, this kid's transformation is bordering on the supernatural. Suddenly, a heavy backpack flies through the air, cutting through the awkward tension with a swift swoosh. Han Jae-hyuk finally appears, telling his student to quit, acting like a clown so they can move. Our boy hops into the truck, ready to lead this ragtag group to the next disaster zone. Taketo can't help but smirk, wondering why his master is still playing the mysterious expert role. As they hit the road, the agent asks for their next destination, acknowledging Han's superior knowledge. Han reveals the third abyss will manifest soon in the Twin Towers' abandoned underground parking lot. With the target locked, the agent floors it, knowing every second counts before the rift opens. By nearly midnight, the city is eerily quiet under the moonlight, unaware of the impending spatial collapse. The team arrives at the designated level, feeling the heavy, distorted atmosphere of the upcoming breach. The agent's senses tingle as she confirms the unmistakable signs of abyssal energy leaking into reality. Han remains cautious, asking if they've secured the perimeter to ensure no unwanted eyes are watching. She assures him the area is ghost town quiet, leaving them alone to face whatever crawls out. Han notes the abyss seed drops in 30 minutes, telling the others to stay safe while he handles it. Takedo wonders if this is actually their job, feeling the weight of the situation as a mere student. Our boy shuts him up by grabbing his face, reminding him that failure isn't an option tonight. Right on cue, the clock strikes midnight, and the space begins to tear open with a sickening glow. Han braces himself as the rift fully manifests, knowing exactly what kind of trash-tier horror is coming through. From the shadows, Sakura and her partner watch with bated breath, realizing the scale of this threat. A massive, undulating abyssal monster oozes out of the portal, its presence alone distorting the air. Looking at the towering purple slime, Takedo realizes this thing is way bigger than anything they've faced before. Han tells his student to keep his cool, and despite the terror, the boy manages to lock in. Handing over a weapon, Han asks if he remembers the training, preparing him for the fight of his life. Taketo breaks down the slime's patterns, noting its nasty habit of spitting acid and lashing out with tentacles. Our boy confirms the plan, letting his student handle the crowd control, while he prepares the finishing strike. The trash-tier blob lets out a wet screech, clearly not happy about being targeted by the duo. Looking at the pulsating mass, the blonde student can't help but feel completely repulsed by the creature's existence. Han just wants to get this over with, finding the whole slimy situation more annoying than actually dangerous. Suddenly, the monster lashes out, sending a flurry of purple tentacles whipping through the air toward them. It follows up with a barrage of corrosive spit, forcing the pair to stay light on their feet. Locking in with his eagle eye, Takedo starts blasting away, determined to shred every last limb off that thing. While the student provides cover fire, Han weaves through the chaos, closing the distance with lethal precision. With his eyes fixed on the core, Han kicks off the ground, ready to end this mess. Han closes the distance, his blade gleaming as he prepares to carve up this trash-tier slime. With a single fluid motion, our boy shreds through the creature's defenses, leaving it a mangled mess. The beast collapses into a puddle of purple filth, completely outclassed by Han's overwhelming speed and precision. Seeing the threat neutralized, Han signals for the agents to come over and wrap things up. He casually offers the final kill to Sakura, wanting her to gain the experience and the monster's essence. Just as she prepares to deliver the finishing blow, a mysterious iron ball drops from the sky. Taketo's instincts scream at him, and he bellows for everyone to get out of the way immediately. The group is left dumbfounded, staring at the sudden projectile that just crashed their party. A massive explosion rocks the area, forcing Han to shield Sakura as the ground shatters beneath them. Realizing they aren't alone, Han stands ready, wondering who else could be lurking in this chaotic timeline. The smoke clears as a mocking voice tells the group they are lucky to be alive. A scarred man smirks, telling our boy and his crew to scram while he is feeling generous. The mysterious awakened claims the monster for himself, casually juggling iron balls as he approaches. He walks right past them, treating the group like trash-tier extras while heading toward the purple slime. The white-haired agent looks at Han Jae-hyuk, wondering if his future knowledge is actually reliable. Sweating under the pressure, the agent quickly apologizes for the mistake as the tension reaches a breaking point. The stranger just laughs, telling them to stop passing blame and get lost before he loses his patience. Han Jae-hyuk realizes this guy is a major variable, since the novel said this area should be empty. Our boy grows suspicious, knowing this monster wasn't supposed to be found until much later in the story. As they stand their ground, Han Jae-hyuk prepares for a confrontation with someone not in the script. The stranger mocks our boy for sticking around, while Han wonders if his presence triggered this butterfly effect. Instead of retreating, Han just lets out a heavy sigh, clearly annoyed by this unexpected timeline detour. The intruder finds the reaction hilarious, asking what could possibly be worth sighing over right now. Han admits he expected things to get messy, and prepares to throw hands with this timeline-breaking variable. Their power collides in a violent burst, leaving both fighters stunned by the other's raw, destructive force. The mysterious man smirks, finally acknowledging that Han isn't just some trash-tier civilian after all. Han creates some distance, realizing his opponent combines high-tier physical strength with precise iron ball manipulation. Seeing an opening, the blonde classmate charges in with his pistol, shouting for the attack to begin. He lets lead fly, hoping his precision shooting can catch the intruder off guard. However, the stranger effortlessly deflects the incoming fire, using his iron balls like an impenetrable defense. The intruder finds it truly remarkable that two mere kids have managed to become this powerful. Taketo isn't interested in talk, immediately unleashing a fifth shot infused with lethal mana. The stranger confidently claims it's useless, relying on his iron balls to deflect the incoming projectile. Turns out he was wrong, as the shot shatters his defense and tears a hole through his shoulder. He collapses to the ground, clutching his mangled arm while struggling to process his sudden defeat. Even while bleeding out, he refuses to back down, his expression shifting from shock to pure rage. Takedo mocks his failed boasting, while our boy Han offers the man a chance to surrender and live. Suddenly, the intruder lunges forward with desperate speed, proving he isn't ready to call it quits just yet. He maneuvers past Han with a blur of motion, aiming to take out the weakest link first. The student is left dumbfounded as the bloodied man gets right in his face with a terrifying smirk. The intruder swings a heavy fist at the student, who barely manages to guard against the sudden explosion. The impact sends a shockwave through the area, proving this trash-tier-looking guy is actually a major threat. Han shouts a warning and lunges forward, desperate to protect his student from the bloodthirsty intruder. But the stranger is a total beast, reversing the momentum and pinning Han to the ground with ease. Han gasps for air as he realizes this variable is far more dangerous than the original novel suggested. The man looms over him like a demon, his eyes glowing with a sinister purple light of pure malice. Without a second of hesitation, he winds up a heavy blow intended to finish the job right here. The punch connects with a sickening thud, rattling Han's brain as he takes the full force of it. A relentless barrage of strikes follows, turning Han into a punching bag while he struggles to find an opening. The intruder mocks Han's reliance on strength, claiming that power alone won't save him from a superior fighter. Sakura and her partner are completely rattled as they witness the sheer brutality of the intruder. The stranger doesn't even care about their presence, treating the elite agents like minor annoyances. Before the agent can pull the trigger, the intruder closes the gap and delivers a crushing blow. He stands over the fallen agent, warning Sakura that acting rashly will only lead to her demise. The man sighs, annoyed that these kids won't just listen to their elders and stay away. He rubs his neck, grumbling about potential hospital bills while assuming the fight is finally over. Suddenly, a voice calls out, and the intruder's eyes flare as he senses a new threat. Our boy Han refuses to stay down, launching a desperate counterattack to regain control. The intruder is absolutely dumbfounded that Han can still move after taking such a brutal beating. Han connects with a massive kick, sending the arrogant variable flying across the factory floor. The impact sends the arrogant intruder skidding across the pavement like a broken toy. He slams into the concrete, coughing up dust while cursing the brat who actually managed to land a hit. Our boy Han catches his breath, his mana-enhanced eyes glowing as he pushes past his physical limits. Ignoring the intruder for a second, he rushes over to check on his student slumped against the wall. Han asks if his student is still in one piece, and if he managed to secure the win. The blonde classmate flexes his fingers, realizing Han's hellish training is why his bones aren't powder. Han commands Sakura to finish off the remaining Abyss Seed before they get swarmed by more threats. She doesn't hesitate, plunging her blade into the purple mass as it dissolves into nothingness. Han hands her an Abyss Stone, telling her to consume it if she wants to survive the chaos. As the energy surges through her, Sakura wonders if this terrifying new strength is finally her true awakening. Our boy Han hauls the unconscious agent away, telling the group they need to move before more trouble arrives. Back at the crater, the mysterious intruder lies in the dirt, completely dumbfounded by the beating he just took. He rubs his swollen jaw, wondering how a mere kid could possess such overwhelming, monstrous strength. His phone starts buzzing, and he reluctantly picks up to explain why he is taking so damn long. He admits he stumbled into a mess and got his face turned into a pig head by two brats. Shaking off the humiliation, he tells his contact he is heading back to base to lick his wounds. Under the cover of night, he limps back to a secluded building, cursing his terrible luck the whole way. He kicks the door open in frustration, still fuming over how easily Han and Taketo handled him. The red-haired woman just laughs, asking the old man how he ended up looking like a total mess. The mercenary leader is genuinely surprised that anyone in this city had the guts to trash-tier one of his men. The scarred man admits the brats weren't ordinary, describing how one broke his arm while the other finished him. The boss strokes his chin, thinking a strength-type user that powerful would be a perfect addition to their crew. Terrified of another beating, the scarred man flat-out refuses to go near those two kids ever again. Since his subordinate is acting like a coward, the leader entrusts the recruitment task to the red-haired woman. She immediately takes offense, snapping that he should address her by her constellation title, Scorpio, instead of Rose. The scarred man just mocks her, questioning why a looker like her would pick such a prickly name. Rose doesn't take the bait and strikes with a burst of purple energy, nearly taking his head off. She glares him down, making it clear that she has no problem killing him if he keeps talking. Instead of backing down, he lets his own power flare up and dares her to make a move. The mercenary leader finally has enough of their trash-tier bickering and tells them both to just pipe down. Our boy, the mercenary leader, finally snaps, warning his subordinates that their trash-tier bickering is about to end. He lets his murderous intent flood the room, promising to personally execute them both if they don't pipe down. Both Rose and the scarred man are left dumbfounded and frozen, realizing their boss is dead serious. Rose quickly drops the attitude and plays nice, assuring the captain that she'll follow his orders perfectly. The scarred man can only stand there sweating, terrified by just how ruthless their leader can actually be. The captain gives Rose a strict 3-day deadline to either recruit the new targets or eliminate them entirely. Rose accepts the mission with a confident smirk, eager to show why she's cut from a different cloth. Meanwhile, the focus shifts to a modern medical facility where the survivors are currently recovering. The doctor informs Han and the others that the white-haired agent luckily avoided any life-threatening internal injuries. Sakura feels a massive weight lift when the doctor confirms her partner will make a full recovery soon. The doc then checks on our boy Takedo, noting that his bones are luckily still in one piece. Takedo tries to play it cool by flexing, acting like a few injuries are nothing to a warrior. The tough guy act crumbles instantly as he yelps in pain, leaving Han and Sakura completely dumbfounded. Once the medical staff leaves the room, the group finally has a moment of privacy to talk shop. Sakura starts apologizing for their poor performance, but Han tells her there is no point in dwelling. Instead, he asks her to reveal the specific ability she gained from consuming that abyssal stone. She gets incredibly hyped, promising to show him something that'll definitely leave a lasting impression. It turns out her big secret power is just a tiny, trash-tier flame flickering on her fingertip. Han is skeptical, asking if she really just gained a basic, trash-tier fire-starting trick. Sakura just smirks, letting him know that a little flame is only the tip of the iceberg. She reveals elemental mastery, juggling fire, water, and nature like it is absolutely nothing. Our boy Takedo is instantly sold, practically worshipping the flashy display of high-tier power. Han recalls the novel's lore, where most users are usually stuck with just 1 or 2 elements. He remembers a legendary all-element user, who was once considered a match for the 12 stars. Sakura confirms her new strength is on a whole different level than they ever expected. She explains how her elements cover everything from lethal attacks to high-speed healing and defense. Even her weapons get a massive boost, making her a one-woman army in the coming war. Takedo pathetically begs to swap powers, but Han immediately shuts him down before he can embarrass himself further. Sakura shifts the mood, asking Han about his next move while teasing some juicy insider info she just scored. Han is all ears, curious to see if her intel matches what he knows from the original novel's timeline. She reveals the government is already scrambling to build an elite squad to hunt down those nasty abyss seeds. When she invites him to join the official ranks, Han flatly refuses, preferring to stay a lone wolf. He is actually impressed by the country's speed, realizing the authorities are moving way faster than he initially anticipated. Sakura tries to sell him on the perks, warning that soloing waves of monsters is a logistical nightmare. While she highlights the massive support system, Han knows the cost is his freedom to act independently. She looks genuinely distressed, clearly worried that her strongest ally is choosing a path filled with unnecessary danger. Han gives her a firm final answer, promising that while he won't wear a uniform, he'll still protect his home. Sakura accepts his refusal but offers help anytime, leading our boy to admit he actually has one specific requirement. Han looks a bit sheepish as he admits that what he really needs right now is some cold, hard cash. Sakura just laughs it off, bragging that while her family lacks many things, they definitely aren't short on funds. When she casually offers a cool billion, even the injured Taketo is left completely dumbfounded by the sheer scale. Han starts sweating, wondering if he aimed too high, and quickly suggests that 50 million would be plenty instead. Sakura gets suspicious of his sudden modesty, wondering if our boy is secretly cooking up some kind of scheme. She decides to trust him anyway, insisting on the full billion and asking for his bank details immediately. Taketo can't believe his eyes, questioning why she'd just hand over a fortune to a guy like Han. Han starts dragging his student away before she changes her mind, ignoring her concerns about the kid's unhealed wounds. He gives a thumbs up, claiming the injury is minor while Taketo fumes about being treated like luggage. Sakura watches him leave, wondering if our boy is planning to build his own private army with that cash. As they walk, Taketo questions why they need money when the world's financial system is basically trashed here now. Han explains that starting a top-tier mercenary group isn't free, even if the world is ending. Taketo loves the idea of being vice captain, but Han is already focused on using the kid's uncle for real estate. He wants a secret mountain base and even suggests Taketo should just threaten his uncle to get it done. The kid is left dumbfounded, realizing his master sounds more like a cold-blooded villain than a hero. Han brushes it off, insisting they need to squeeze in more training before the next abyss seed drops. Taketo stands there in silence, probably regretting every life choice that led him to this moment. He lets out a cry of despair as he realizes the hellish training isn't over yet. The duo sets their sights on a massive industrial facility that will serve as their new base of operations. Our boy and his student are absolutely spent, sprawled out on the floor of their new industrial hideout. While they recover, the news blares in the background about a global coalition forming to fight the abyss. Governments are finally scrambling to set up special departments across major cities to handle the coming extinction event. Han checks on the renovation progress, but Takedo notes that turning this dump into a fortress takes time, Despite the exhaustion, the kid is actually itching for a real fight, asking when the next seed drops. Han reveals they only have 3 days left, meaning it's already time to gear up and head out. Suddenly, a dark, murderous aura floods the room as an uninvited guest finally tracks them down. The duo doesn't hesitate, immediately dropping into combat stances to face whatever threat just walked in. Turns out it's that red-haired powerhouse from the hotel, and she's absolutely fuming after getting chewed out. She glares with pure venom, clearly blaming our boy for the week of hell her captain put her through. Scorpio recognizes our boy from the hotel, realizing he was hiding some serious power all along. Takedo is completely dumbfounded by her beauty, but Han is only focused on why she tracked them down. She suddenly drops to the floor, acting exhausted and begging for some water to quench her thirst. Our boy's student immediately folds, rushing over to serve her like she's some kind of royalty. She takes the bottle while turning on the charm, asking Taketo if he's currently on the market. The kid's face turns beet red as his brain completely short-circuits from the unexpected advances. While she drinks, Han remains cold and demands to know exactly what she wants from them. She reveals her identity as Scorpio, mentioning that the massive gorilla they killed was part of her crew. Takedo finally snaps out of it and draws his weapon, asking if she's here for a revenge match. She just brushes the gun aside, claiming she actually wants them to join her mercenary group instead. Han is caught completely off guard when she suddenly presses a finger against his lips to silence him. Scorpio leans in close, whispering a deadly ultimatum that her captain wants them dead if they refuse. Takedo tries to act tough, confidently reminding her that she is outnumbered 2-1 in this alley. Suddenly, his vision blurs, and his pupils contract as a strange, invisible power hits him out of nowhere. The poor kid collapses to his knees, clutching his head as his equilibrium is completely shattered by her. He realizes she is using a trash-tier underhanded trick, and curses her for being a devious old hag. Han's eyes widen in fury as he realizes his student has been hit by a potent mental interference. Our boy doesn't hesitate for a second, lunging forward to intervene before she can do any more damage. She just laughs it off, mocking the boy for being so fickle after he just called her beautiful. Her playful aura vanishes, replaced by a suffocating purple pressure as she demands their final answer right now. Han and his student stand frozen, sensing the atmosphere shift as a new threat suddenly crashes their party. A group of trash-tier thugs appears, with their leader screaming that he finally found the red-haired witch. These newcomers are the Poison Sting Squad, and their presence clearly rattles the usually composed woman. Han asks who these clowns are, while she curses her luck, wondering how they managed to track her. The balding leader snarls about breaking her limbs and leaving her for the wolves to finish off. Noticing the intense grudge, our boy asks her what she could have possibly done to earn such hatred. She doesn't sugarcoat it, calmly explaining that she actually castrated the man during their last encounter. Han is completely dumbfounded, realizing he might be dealing with someone even more ruthless than he first thought. The squad closes in, surrounding the trio as the tension in the alley reaches a boiling point. The leader continues his verbal assault, spitting out insults that prove he is definitely not over his past humiliation. The red-haired woman snaps, warning the balding leader that he is practically begging for a painful death. He just sneers back, claiming he has finally figured out her tricks and prepared a nasty surprise. Not taking any chances, she immediately calls upon her constellation powers, surrounding herself in a toxic green aura. She tells Han and Takedo to run while she holds them off, thinking she's protecting the two strangers. With a sharp motion, she unleashes a massive wave of poison energy intended to dissolve the entire squad. The toxic blast roars through the air, looking like it will end the confrontation in a single strike. However, one of the thugs steps forward with a smug grin, his hands glowing with a bright light. The poison wave shatters against a golden barrier, completely neutralizing the attack before it can touch them. She is left completely dumbfounded as the goon laughs, realizing her most lethal weapon has been rendered useless. The leader gloats, explaining that his subordinate possesses purification powers specifically meant to shut her down entirely. Scorpio is absolutely fuming after seeing her ultimate move get completely neutralized by a mere lackey. The trash-tier goon just smirks, his purification barrier making her look like a total amateur. The backlash from the failed attack sends her reeling as she coughs up blood from the impact. Seeing their opening, the entire squad rushes forward to end the red-haired woman's life once and for all. Suddenly, a hail of bullets tears into the concrete, stopping the goons dead in their tracks. Taketo keeps his aim steady, warning them that the next shot won't be a warning. Our boy Han just smirks, telling the fallen woman she now owes them a massive favor for the save. One of the thugs realizes they're outclassed and begs his boss to call for an immediate retreat. The leader realizes the tide has turned, and begrudgingly orders his men to pull back before they're slaughtered. Scorpio isn't about to let them walk away, screaming for the duo to finish them off right now. The mercenary leader channels his inner energy, preparing to show everyone exactly why he is the one in charge. A massive wave of blue power slashes across the pavement, serving as a final warning to any remaining trash. Scorpio rushes toward the duo, calling them complete idiots for jumping into a mess they can't possibly handle alone. She smirks and warns them that since they've offended her enemies, they should join her 12 celestial stars. Our boy Han remains totally unfazed by her offer, calmly suggesting that he has a much better plan instead. The woman looks at him with pure skepticism, wondering if this brat actually thinks he can recruit her. Han's eyes glow with intensity as he extends his hand, formally inviting the dangerous woman to join his side. She stands there completely dumbfounded by his audacity, but Han confirms that he is being 100% serious. Recovering her smug composure, she strikes a pose and notes that she won't be joining anyone's crew so easily. Han is shocked to see her wounds are gone, realizing her secret abilities go way beyond just using poison. Taketo is instantly suspicious, wondering if this dangerous woman is trying to pull another fast one on them. She just laughs it off, teasingly claiming that being deceptive is simply part of a beautiful woman's natural charm. With a final wave, she promises to repay the favor before vanishing into the shadows of the city. Our boy and his student sigh, realizing they've managed to offend multiple powerful factions in a single night. Han decides it's time to bounce, since their location is blown, and staying any longer is just asking for trouble. They calculate their next move, knowing the 4th Abyss Seed will manifest in F City in just 5 days. The duo heads toward the urban skyline, hoping to get some much-needed rest before the next big disaster hits. After a quick change of clothes, Taketo spots a massive facility that seems to be the local hotspot. They stand before the official registration center for the Abyss combat team, debating if they should join the fray. Han's gaze turns icy as he prepares to navigate the next chapter of this crumbling, trash-tier world. Taketo nudges our boy forward, insisting they might as well check out the registration center since they're already here. Han agrees to take a look, secretly hoping to find some heavy hitters from the novel to potentially recruit. They step inside the heavily guarded facility, where the air is thick with tension and a heavy military presence. Suddenly, a sharp-looking man in a suit intercepts them, greeting the duo with a professional yet piercing gaze. The silver-haired official adjusts his glasses and asks if they've come to sign up for the Abyss combat team. Han tests the waters by asking if awakening a special ability is a strict requirement for joining the fray. The man explains that while powers are great, raw skill is what really matters during their rigorous assessment process. He introduces himself as Chi Ji-Yuen, the high-ranking official currently in charge of overseeing all operations in Zone 6. Our boy is completely dumbfounded, recognizing the name as a legendary powerhouse who shouldn't be appearing this early. Noticing the sudden change in Han's expression, the official asks why he looks so surprised to meet him. Han plays it cool, lying that the official's name just reminds him of a friend he once knew. Internally, our boy recalls that while most powerhouses rely on broken abilities, Chi Ji-Yuen is a different breed. In the original story, this man lost his city to the Abyss and built a mercenary empire from scratch. He became a living legend, leading his men to impossible victories against monsters that should have been untouchable. The most insane feat was when he soloed 3 high-level Abyss Seeds that even elite users couldn't handle. He even humbled one of the 12 stars, proving that raw grit could overcome the most trash-tier destiny. For a long time, the world knew him as the crownless king, the strongest man without a system. But the novel ends in tragedy, with his entire army being wiped out by a massive betrayal of rivals. On his deathbed, he dropped the ultimate bombshell, revealing he never actually had any supernatural powers at all. Realizing this legend's value, Han hides his power and asks for a tour to help protect their homeland. Chi Ji-Wen plays the perfect host, inviting them to his office for a much-needed briefing on the zone. Down in the cafeteria, things look normal, but some trash-tier rats are already blending into the crowd. These infiltrators realize the security is tight, but they've clearly come prepared for a heavy fight. Their scout smugly reports that there are only 3 ability users, thinking they've got the total upper hand. The blonde leader doesn't care about the odds, and asks his sniper if the target is finally locked. High above the city, the air grows heavy as the hidden threat prepares to drop the hammer. Joss confirms he's ready to pull the trigger, his specialized rifle humming with lethal mana. With a sinister grin and glowing eyes, the leader initiates a 5-minute countdown for their surprise attack. The squad signals their readiness, prepared to turn this registration center into a complete war zone. Meanwhile, our boy and Taketo sit down with the legend, completely unaware that a hit is incoming. A host pours tea for our boy and his student, trying to set a polite tone for the meeting. Chi Ji-Won offers his favorite blend, masking his sharp intuition behind a welcoming, professional smile. Han isn't falling for the hospitality and politely declines, keeping his guard up in this high-stakes environment. Seeing their caution, the legend decides to stop playing games and get straight to the point. With his glasses gleaming, he demands to know what their real purpose is for visiting his office. The duo is momentarily dumbfounded by how quickly the atmosphere shifted from friendly to a cold interrogation. He correctly guesses they aren't just random applicants, but powerful ability users with a hidden agenda. Han remains calm, realizing he's dealing with someone who can see right through any trash-tier excuses. The Crownless King leans in, certain that Han recognizes his legendary status from the original timeline. Our boy just laughs it off, claiming the man is being sensitive, and only recognizes the name. Chi Ji-yuan reveals his secret weapon is a childhood intuition that lets him read people like open books. He claims this power allows him to see through every tiny detail, from emotions to a person's posture. Despite his insight, he admits Han is a complete enigma that he simply cannot place in his memory. The legend gets aggressive, demanding to know Han's true identity and what he's actually hunting for here. Our boy starts sweating under the pressure, realizing the Crownless King's aura is far from trash tier. Han tries to play it off as a misunderstanding, insisting they are just regular guys looking for work. Chi Ji-yuan isn't falling for the act, and decides it's time for a much more intense interrogation session. Suddenly, a high-tech mana field erupts around the duo, trapping them in a shimmering blue digital cage. He explains this specialized device is designed to hold even the strongest monsters that humanity has ever faced. Han tests the perimeter with a strike, only to find the barrier is far stronger than he anticipated. Han realizes the barrier is tough, but he pours more power into his fist to shatter the cage. After breaking out, our boy admits he's an ability user, but pleads for the legend to believe him. He maintains a calm expression, insisting they aren't here for any trouble or malicious reasons. Chi Ji-yuan calculates that breaking a level 3 cage requires a high-tier rank, making him even more suspicious. Seeing he's outmatched, the Crownless King opens his arms and decides to trust them for now. He admits that if Han really wanted to kill him, he'd have no way to resist right now. Han just laughs it off, jokingly asking if he really looks like a bad guy to the veteran. Suddenly, a massive explosion rips through the office, leaving everyone dumbfounded by the sudden attack. Our boy barely has time to react as the shockwave and debris fly everywhere in a chaotic blur. Han and his student immediately go back to back, realizing their peaceful chat just got cut short by an intruder. Chi Ji-yuan scoffs, realizing his peaceful interrogation just got interrupted by a bunch of uninvited guests. He stands amidst the wreckage, wondering which trash-tier group is bold enough to bomb the registration center. A massive inferno erupts, threatening to incinerate everything in the room as the building's structural integrity fails. Through the thick plumes of smoke, our boy and his student stand their ground, refusing to be buried. The veteran leader is stunned that they survived a direct elemental blast with only a few scratches. Han looks at his singed arms, realizing his current defense isn't quite enough to ignore high-rank fire magic. As the emergency alarms scream about an ongoing invasion, the gravity of the situation, Han offers his help, insisting he has no part in this chaos and wants to stop the attackers. After searching Han's gaze, Chi Ji-yuan decides to trust him, sensing the honesty behind those glowing blue eyes. He immediately commands them to follow him to the lobby, where the heavy firepower is concentrated. The facility's high-tech security systems flare to life as the perimeter is suddenly breached by unknown forces. Massive automated turrets lock onto the incoming targets, ready to unleash a devastating hailstorm of lead. A violent tremor shakes the entire structure, signaling that the real fight has finally begun for the defenders. Joss grinds her teeth, realizing the facility's response time is much faster than she originally anticipated. She doesn't hesitate, channeling her mana into a high-powered shot to neutralize the building's automated defenses. The exterior walls buckle and explode as her precision strikes tear through the facility's heavy plating. With a smug grin, she reports to her team that the suppression is a total success. The infiltration leader smirks, ordering his squad to move in and seize their objective without delay. Inside, the defenders are shocked to realize their headquarters is being hit by high-tier awakened variables. The infiltration leader finally confronts the defenders in the lobby, setting the stage for a bloody showdown. The infiltration scout tells his boss to stop underestimating him, claiming he only needs 10 seconds for this. Amused by the confidence, the infiltration leader starts a cold countdown, while the scout prepares to move. Our boy takes a deep breath, fully focused on the task of clearing the path ahead. Suddenly, the facility defenders launch a combined elemental assault, warning the intruders to surrender or face the consequences. Ignoring the flashy display of power, the leader continues his countdown, reaching the halfway mark with a smug grin. The scout stands his ground as the three powerful defenders close in, looking like he's about to be overwhelmed. One defender is left completely dumbfounded when the target suddenly vanishes right before his eyes. In a blur of speed, the scout reappears behind them, delivering a series of precise slashes that drop the trio. He finishes exactly as the clock hits 0, proving that his boast wasn't just empty trash talk. Outside, the SRT soldiers open fire, desperately trying to contain the chaos unfolding within the facility lobby. The infiltration leader snaps his fingers, stopping the incoming bullets dead in their tracks with blue mana ripples. One soldier is left shaking in his boots, realizing they are dealing with a literal monster. He casually dances through the suspended lead, mocking the soldiers by calling the chaos a beautiful scene. The rest of the squad gets tossed around like ragdolls as the leader's power overwhelms the entire lobby. With a smug bow, he thanks them for the warm welcome before moving to the next phase. He orders his crew to split up, giving them exactly 14 minutes to secure the facility's core data. Suddenly, his instincts scream at him to watch out as a new threat enters the fray. A high-velocity round grazes his cheek, nearly taking his head off before he can even react. Our boy steps into the light alongside the crownless king and his student, who is holding a smoking gun. Watching from the shadows, the sniper realizes their intel was trash tier and decides she wants to play. The infiltration leader smirks, telling his sniper not to take too long with her next shot. Joss charges her rifle with explosive mana, ready to turn the lobby into a graveyard. The crownless king stares them down, demanding to know who these trash-tier intruders think they are. The leader just smiles, assuming he's finally talking to the man in charge of this facility. He introduces himself as John West, representing a mercenary group called the Rose Waltz. Chi-Juan adjusts his glasses, trying to recall if this group is even worth his time. Our boy realizes this group wasn't in the original novel, meaning the timeline is officially a mess. The legendary king cuts the small talk, asking exactly which shadow organizations signed their paychecks. John West plays the professional card, claiming he can't betray his employer's secrets so easily. He ends with a smug grin, suggesting the king can find his answers in hell instead. Suddenly, a lethal mana beam streaks through the air, targeting the group before they can even react. Our boy Takedo spots the trajectory instantly, his eagle eye flaring up as he warns everyone of the sniper. He doesn't just wait around, leaping into action and firing a precision shot to intercept the incoming projectile. The two bullets collide with a violent spark, proving that the kid's aim is truly on another level. The enemy sniper, Joss, is dumbfounded to see a mere brat using the exact same high-tier ability. She decides to stop playing around, loading a special skull-marked bullet designed to bypass standard defenses. The purple projectile screams through the air, carrying enough destructive mana to level the entire hallway. Takedo grits his teeth, realizing this isn't a normal shot, and that his previous tactics won't work. He pushes his mana to the limit, coating his weapon in golden flames for a desperate counterattack. Their powers clash in a blinding explosion, as the student proves he is definitely not some trash-tier amateur. The explosion from the previous clash rocks the facility, filling the corridor with thick, suffocating smoke. The infiltration leader smirks, noting that his sniper has finally met someone worthy of a real fight. Our boy and his allies regroup, realizing the enemy's precision is far beyond what they expected. Heavy footsteps echo through the chaos as the mercenary team prepares to close in for the kill. Chi-Juan warns the group that they're pinned down by a professional and a hidden, top-tier sniper. Han's eyes glow with intensity as he calculates their slim odds, knowing a direct confrontation is suicide. Realizing they can't win this war of attrition, he commands everyone to make a break for it immediately. They leap through the wreckage, desperately trying to put some distance between themselves and the lethal overwatch. The blonde leader watches them flee, satisfied that his sniper has the targets perfectly locked in her sights. Despite having a clear shot, he denies the request for pursuit, prioritizing their main objective over a few strays. Joss sighs, feeling it is a pity she finally met another sniper with her rare, high-tier ability. Our boy and his student finally find a moment to breathe in a supposedly safe corner of the facility. Han Jae-hyuk explains that in this chaotic mess, he had no choice but to make a tough call. Chi-Ji-won warns them they have underestimated the government's hidden teeth as his tactical gear starts chirping. A high-tech communication device slides out of his leg holster, ready to bring in the real heavy hitters. He barks orders into the phone, demanding the elite special forces for ability users move out immediately. Lighting up a smoke, the crownless king tells the group it is finally time to head back. Han Jae-hyuk is left dumbfounded, wondering just how much power this new special forces team actually holds. Meanwhile, the smug infiltration leader finds himself pinned down as his entire squad is neutralized by the authorities. He screams in pure frustration, unable to comprehend why their supernatural abilities suddenly stopped working during the raid. The trash-tier infiltration leader is pinned under a heavy boot, screaming about what kind of monsters he's facing. His face is ground into the dirt as he realizes his supposed God-given talent means nothing here. Chi-Ji-won looks down with pure coldness, mocking the idea that they are the ones who are monsters. With a scarred face and a chilling gaze, he tells the pathetic loser exactly who the real monsters are. As the special response team reports, the sniper escaped. The crownless king just casually lights up a smoke. He dismisses the runaway sniper as nothing more than a scared rat who isn't worth their time. The broken leader continues to sob, unable to accept that a talented genius like him could be defeated. The authorities drag the trash away, while a discarded cigarette butt marks the end of this failed raid. Suddenly, the heavy hitters finally arrive, their footsteps echoing with the weight of true government authority. Wang Wenfeng greets the group, teasing old Qi about his speed, while our boy Han watches the exchange. Wang Wenfeng steps up to introduce the heavy hitter known as Black Panther to our boy Han. This guy is the captain of the 4th District, and clearly looks like he's seen some serious action. Han recognizes him as the legendary powerhouse who fought alongside the crownless king until the bitter end. The veteran casually offers a smoke, testing the waters with the newcomers to see their reaction. Both Han and Takato immediately wave him off, looking completely dumbfounded by the sudden, gritty offer. Black Panther blows a cloud of smoke and asks if Han actually recognizes the legend standing before him. Han plays it cool, claiming it's his first time meeting him despite knowing his future legendary status. Our boy realizes he needs to fix his poker face before these monsters realize he knows way too much. The captain drops his smoke and walks off, leaving the group to catch their breath after the encounter. He tosses a final request to Qi, demanding these 2 promising kids be assigned to his department. Qi Jiwen acknowledges that Black Panther is an elite warrior, showing deep respect for his comrade's legendary strength. He then turns to the duo and asks if they are finally willing to join his elite organization. Our boy politely declines, explaining that while he'll help the country, he prefers a free and easy life. Qi Jiwen takes the rejection in stride, telling Han that the 4th District's doors will always remain open. The legendary king heads off to handle the remaining mess, leaving the 2 students to their own devices. As they watch him walk away, Han realizes just how heavy the presence of a true legend really is. Han tries to confirm if the next abyssal event is happening in 4 days, testing his future knowledge. Suddenly, he's hit with a chilling realization that something about the timeline has shifted significantly. The crownless king looms like a shadow, his true power hinting that the future isn't set in stone. He waves goodbye, cryptically mentioning they'll meet in 5 days, leaving our boy completely dumbfounded by the discrepancy. Han and his student walk through the city, the weight of their recent encounter still hanging heavy. The blonde classmate notices his master's distress and wonders if that legendary monster is like him. Our boy is genuinely rattled, realizing his status as the only one with future knowledge might be compromised. If others have foresight too, his edge is gone, and the entire timeline becomes a chaotic, unpredictable mess. His student snaps him out of it, asking what their next move is now that legends are appearing. Han hardens his resolve, declaring that they won't let anyone else claim the next abyssal prize before them. Even if he isn't unique, Hell just becomes so powerful that no variable or legend can stop him. Meanwhile, the city is on lockdown, with soldiers cordoning off the streets as the world prepares for chaos. The once bustling metropolis feels like a ghost town, waiting for the next nightmare to crawl out of shadows. The blonde student activates his eagle eye, his gaze sharpening as he prepares to hunt for their opportunity. Takedo looks at Han and admits that their current situation feels completely hopeless. Our boy is feeling the pressure, even joking that the mounting stress makes him want to break down. Suddenly, a familiar voice rings out from behind the door, playfully calling for her little brothers to open up. Both of them freeze as they instantly recognize the woman who shouldn't have been able to track them here. Han is dumbfounded, wondering how she found their hideout, and asking his student for a quick escape plan. The woman outside warns them that her patience is thin, and she isn't planning on waiting much longer. Mana begins to swirl as a hand literally reaches through a golden rift, appearing in the middle of the door. Scorpio steps through the portal with the mercenary leader and the scarred variable they recently humbled. The scarred man greets them like old friends, clearly relishing the look of pure shock on their faces. Han and his student can only grit their teeth as their sanctuary is officially compromised by these dangerous variables. Scorpio impatiently shoves the scarred variable aside, clearly done with his trash-tier attitude during this high-stakes confrontation. She flashes a predatory smile, insisting that she only came here to talk business with Han and his student. Our boy remains on high alert, sweating as he questions what kind of business requires such a violent entrance. The group's leader finally steps up, introducing himself as Badger, the captain of the elite 12 celestial stars. Takato completely loses it, bursting into hysterical laughter because that codename is the least intimidating thing he's heard. The scarred man joins the mockery, teasing his captain for being turned into a laughingstock by a mere kid. Han's mind races as he realizes the name Badger is a total anomaly not mentioned in the original novel. Badger quickly regains his composure, shifting the mood by mentioning the new Abyss Rift appearing at midnight tonight. He points out that since the location is strictly controlled, Han must have a very specific reason for staying. Han clarifies if they really want his help to snatch the next Abyss seed from under everyone's noses. Badger confirms the plan with a smug snap, thinking he's finally found the perfect muscle for the job. Our boy doesn't even blink before shutting them down, refusing to get dragged into their suicide mission. Despite Badger's attempts to sweeten the deal, Han knows they're hopelessly outmatched by the forces guarding the rift. He envisions the absolute monsters that'd be crossing, like the legendary Qi Jiyuan and his elite tactical squads. Crossing the state means facing a power as overwhelming as a divine dragon, and the price is too high. The scarred variable admits Han is sharp, realizing that a normal bribe won't work on someone this calculating. He pulls out a small pouch, mockingly asking if this legendary loot is enough to change the kid's mind. Inside sit 2 glowing abyssal stones, the kind of high-tier treasure that could tempt even the most cautious hunter. Taketo's eyes practically turn into stars at the sight of the legendary loot, completely losing his cool. Meanwhile, Han remains skeptical, staring down the glowing gems while weighing the massive risk against the reward. Badger explains that while one stone is useless for them, the other is a rare prize for a hunter. He leans in with a smirk, mentioning that the original owner is someone Han has already crossed paths with. Han immediately connects the dots to the sniper, while Taketo just stands there looking absolutely dumbfounded. Suddenly, Badger laughs and confirms he's right, clearly enjoying how quickly the kid figured out his little game. Turns out, his crew jumped the sniper in a brutal skirmish, proving they aren't just some trash-tier mercenaries. Holding out the stones, he insists they are a perfect match for Han's unique abilities and current power level. With a wide, shark-like grin, he asks if this massive bribe is finally enough to seal their dangerous deal. Taketo whispers to Han, wondering if these stones are the literal remains of fallen ability users. Han clarifies that only a rare few actually drop these precious stones upon their death. Our boy Taketo gets stars in his eyes, already imagining the massive gains they could score. Han immediately shuts him down, reminding the kid that no amount of loot is worth dying for. Despite the insane offer, Han firmly rejects the deal, leaving the mercenaries completely dumbfounded. Badger sighs at Han's stubbornness, disappointed that such a high-tier bribe couldn't sway him. The scarred mercenary can't believe his ears, shocked that anyone would turn down such a fortune. Suddenly, a glowing stone is tossed through the air, as a parting gesture. Badger decides not to force the issue, letting Han keep the sniper's stone as a free gift. His subordinate looks on in disbelief, wondering why the captain is being so generous to a stranger. Badger watches them leave, his yellow eyes glowing with a sharp, calculating intensity. The scarred mercenary realizes he's overstepped, and quickly decides to keep his mouth shut for once. As the trio walks away, Badger expresses his hope for future cooperation between their groups. Our boy Han just watches them go, his blue eyes cold as he processes the encounter. The city remains quiet for now, but the shifting timeline means peace won't last long here. The scarred subordinate still can't wrap his head around why they just hand over a rare stone. Badger ignores the whining and instead asks what his man thinks about the bond between their targets. He wonders if Han and the kid are just partners, or if something deeper connects them. He questions if they're comrades or if it's a strict captain and subordinate dynamic, like their own crew. The scarred mercenary just stands there dumbfounded, having no clue why his boss is getting so philosophical. Badger mocks his subordinate, claiming he would trade his drinking habit for the man having half of Scorpio's brains. He tells the scarred mercenary to move out, assuring him that everything will make sense soon enough. The confused subordinate turns to Scorpio, desperately asking what their captain is actually planning with this move. Scorpio just scoffs and walks away, leaving the man fuming as he struggles to keep up with the elites. He finally hits his breaking point, screaming about why everyone in this trash-tier world has to be so cryptic. Back at the hotel, Taketo is still skeptical about why such a rare item was just handed to them. Our boy Han tells him to stop overthinking and just absorb the stone to increase his survival odds. Trusting his master completely, the kid swallows the abyss stone and prepares for the surge of raw power. Suddenly, a violent burst of golden mana erupts from his body, as his hidden potential finally catches fire. The explosion of energy is so massive it nearly levels the room, signaling the birth of a new powerhouse. Taketo is absolutely hyped, realizing his eagle eye range just jumped to 3,000 meters with a new skill. He explains that this evolved sight lets him lock onto targets through any cover within 500 meters. Feeling invincible, the kid brags that his accuracy is now perfect, as long as he has vision. Our boy is genuinely impressed, noting just how broken that second ability actually is for a sniper. Taketo regrets they didn't take the job, thinking Han could have evolved even further with his own stone. Han secretly knows his unique soul can absorb any stone, but he keeps that trump card hidden. When Taketo suggests warning Qi Jiwen about the 12 stars, Han just scoffs at the unnecessary idea. The student shivers, realizing that even the elite constellations wouldn't stand a chance against a monster like Qi. Han warns that they must be strong enough to seize the upcoming fifth abyss, or they'll eventually rot. Taketo sighs, wondering how they're even supposed to start recruiting team members in this trash-tier world. Han goes through his mental list, crossing off high-tier candidates like Qi Jiyuan and the unreachable Scorpio. He desperately tries to recall any other hidden gems from the original novel's plot. Suddenly, a spark of memory hits him like a lightning bolt. He jumps up in a frenzy, making Takato wonder if his master has finally lost his mind. Grinning like a madman, Han admits he almost overlooked a major piece of the puzzle. He explains that this nameless background character eventually births an ability strong enough for the 12 stars. The target is currently at a children's center in F City, a place the future constellations often mentioned. If they can recruit this person now, their team's power level will skyrocket past any trash-tier competition. Our boy doesn't waste a second, dragging his dumbfounded student out to catch a ride. They arrive at the facility, praying this gamble pays off before the timeline shifts again. Han and his student finally reach the F City Children's Center, where kids are playing without a care. A man quickly approaches them, wondering what business two strangers have at a place like this. Our boy puts on his best poker face, claiming he's looking to invest in local welfare programs. The director, Zhu Fei, practically glows with relief at the mention of a potential financial savior. He eagerly leads them toward the office, desperate to secure a deal before his luck runs out. Their meeting is cut short when a group of uninvited guests starts shouting about unpaid debts. A pack of trash-tier thugs led by Boss Zhang marches in, looking to collect their pound of flesh. Zhu Fei starts sweating bullets, pleading with Han to give him a moment to clear the air. He begs the loan shark for a few more days, swearing that a big investment is finally coming. Boss Zhang just laughs in his face, tired of hearing the same pathetic excuses every single month. Boss Zhang loses his patience and delivers a brutal slap, demanding the money or the entire yard. Zhu Fei can only grit his teeth in pain, feeling the weight of his impossible situation. He desperately begs for one last chance to make things right, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. The loan shark just scoffs, already planning to flip this prime real estate into a profitable small resort. He signals his trash-tier goons to start clearing out the residents, showing absolutely no mercy. Zhu Fei finally snaps, shouting that the greedy boss is crossing a line he can't come back from. Watching from the sidelines, Takedo asks if they should intervene, but our boy decides to wait. The thugs don't hesitate for a second, eager to start cracking skulls and following their boss orders. Zhu Fei stands his ground, blocking the path and swearing he'll find a way to settle the debt. Boss Zhang reveals his true colors, admitting he never wanted the money, he just wanted the land. Boss Zhang is losing his patience, complaining that these residents are ruining his precious feng shui. Zhu Fei finally hits his limit, warning the greedy boss not to push him any further. The boss just laughs in his face, mocking the idea that a nobody could actually stop him. Zhu Fei goes silent, his face hidden in shadow as he prepares to unleash something truly terrifying. Suddenly, a massive demonic entity looms over the scene, manifesting from the weight of Zhu Fei's hidden power. Boss Zhang's eyes roll back as he is hit by a wave of pure, unadulterated mental trauma. He collapses to his knees, foaming at the mouth while his confused goons wonder what just happened. Realizing their meal ticket is having a literal seizure, the trash-tier thugs panic and call for a hospital. As the goons carry their boss away, Takedo watches in shock, realizing they just witnessed a hidden powerhouse. Our boy just gives a knowing smirk, satisfied that he has finally found the hidden variable he was seeking. The tension settles as 2 glasses of water are placed on the table, marking a temporary peace. Zhu Fei apologizes for the mess, offering them a drink while trying to play off his terrifying display. Our boy doesn't waste time and asks exactly how long he's been hiding that monstrous ability of his. Zhu Fei tries to play dumb, sweating as he claims he has no clue what they're talking about. Han just stares him down, reminding him that the world has changed and he knows it better than anyone. He explains that their reality is now just a playground for abyss seeds, and the old rules are dead. If Zhu Fei thinks things will stay the same, he's wrong, as the very structure of society is crumbling. While pouring water, Han admits his power is great, but questions if it's enough to protect this orphanage. He looks him dead in the eye and says it's impossible to save everyone on his own. Zhu Fei listens intently as Han warns him that a single person's strength is ultimately limited in this apocalypse. Han continues his pitch, emphasizing that the director can't possibly safeguard these kids once the abyss seeds peak. Feeling cornered, the director demands to know what our boy is actually after and why he's here. Han keeps it cool, introducing himself as Cheng Ting, while gesturing to his loyal student, now called Cheng Yu. He doesn't beat around the bush and formally invites the hidden powerhouse to join their ranks. The director is skeptical, immediately asking if these two are just another bunch of government suits. Han shuts that down, explaining they're just a small-time mercenary group operating outside the system's reach. Zhu Fei realizes this path means constant life-threatening danger that might even put his orphans in the crossfire. Our boy doesn't sugarcoat the truth, giving a cold confirmation that the risks are indeed that high. When the director begins to decline, Han counters that joining provides the very resources and protection they lack. He then asks if Zhu Fei has considered the chaos once the law dies, and awakened trash tiers run rampant. Han leans in and bluntly asks the director what he plans to do when the real threats arrive. He points out that while trash tier thugs are easy, The world will soon be crawling with specialized counters. The reality of his situation starts to sink in, leaving the director visibly shaken by the looming danger. Our boy offers a final guarantee, promising to personally shield the children if the director joins their cause. Zhu Fei is clearly reaching his breaking point, clutching his head as he struggles with the impossible choice. Seeing the man needs space, Han tells him to take his time and think the whole thing over. The duo makes their exit, leaving the heavy silence of the welfare center behind them as they walk. Once they're clear, the student gives a thumbs up and asks what kind of power the director actually has. Han reveals that the man possesses a terrifying ability called Nightmare, one of the scariest powers in existence. The student is left completely dumbfounded, realizing they just tried to recruit a literal walking bad dream. Han explains that Nightmare drags victims into a dream world through direct eye contact. He grabs his student's shirt to emphasize the sheer danger of such a high-tier ability. Our boy adds that any damage taken in that dream world is reflected on the physical body. The student is genuinely shaken, wondering if such a broken power is actually invincible. Han smirks and clarifies that even the strongest skills have a massive, trash-tier flaw. He notes that the user must maintain direct eye contact to even trigger the mental trap. If the target has a stronger mind, the whole thing backfires and destroys the user instead. Takedo realizes that playing with someone's mind is a double-edged sword with lethal risks. Suddenly, his phone starts buzzing, interrupting the heavy lesson on psychological warfare. He answers and lights up with joy, thrilled that some good news has finally arrived. Han is hyped because their secret base is finally finished and ready for operation ahead of schedule. They wait outside the facility as the welfare director approaches, looking like he's finally ready to talk business. Our boy can tell just by the look in the man's eyes that he has made his choice. Zhu Fei confesses that he can't protect his kids alone and chooses to place his hope in Han. Han offers his hand, vowing to keep his promise as long as they stand together against the apocalypse. A firm handshake officially marks the birth of a new, powerhouse alliance in this crumbling world. The director suddenly realizes they're missing a name, a point the student quickly backs up with confusion. Han pauses to reflect, wanting a name that carries the weight of his secret future knowledge. He decides on Foreseer, a title that perfectly reflects his status as the world's only professional reader. As the wind picks up, the newly christened group prepares to face the coming storm head-on. Han and his student hit the road, heading toward the secret location Han secured using his future knowledge. In the back of the truck, the orphans are buzzing with excitement and hunger as they leave their past behind. Zhu Fei reassures the little ones with a gentle smile, promising that their new home is just ahead. The tires screech against the dirt as the convoy finally pulls up to the gates of a massive estate. As the engine cuts out, the director and the kids look out in total disbelief at the sight before them. Our boy didn't settle for trash-tier housing, unveiling a sprawling, high-end mansion that looks more like a fortress. The blonde student is completely dumbfounded, his eyes sparkling at the thought of living in such a luxury base. The kids don't waste a second, sprinting toward the fountain while Zhu Fei desperately tries to keep them in line. Han watches the chaos with a smirk as a staff member approaches to welcome the world's newest powerhouse group. The estate staff member looks like he's seen a ghost, trembling as he finally greets the arriving group. Our boy student is initially thrilled, giving a massive thumbs up for the incredible work his uncle did. However, he quickly turns serious, warning the man that their secret connection must never be revealed to Han. He notices the old man is sweating buckets and mockingly tells him to take better care of himself. Han isn't buying the nervous act for a second, sensing that this caretaker is hiding something potentially dangerous. The peaceful atmosphere shatters when a sharp shout echoes across the courtyard, forcing the orphans to freeze mid-run. Zhu Fei pulls the children close, sensing the sudden killing intent, and asking Han what is going wrong. The blonde student starts to panic, realizing his master is looking at his relative with pure, cold suspicion. He demands his uncle speak up immediately, knowing that Han's patience for trash-tier lies has already run out. The terrified caretaker collapses to his knees, desperately claiming he was forced into this mess by outsiders. Han doesn't hesitate to manifest his spatial mana, preparing for a fight as the tension reaches its peak. Suddenly, the heavy silence of the estate is pierced by a presence moving toward the main entrance. A mysterious hand reaches out, swinging the doors wide open and catching everyone completely off guard. Our boy and his student freeze, their instincts screaming that a new variable has just entered the room. Turns out it's just Sakura, who casually strolls in with a smirk, asking if they're surprised to see her. She notes that Han's new base is impressive, while the poor caretaker takes the chance to bolt away. The girl mockingly questions how a mercenary leader could be so easily rattled by a simple surprise visit. Taketo just huffs in frustration, admitting that he nearly blasted her head off out of pure reflex. Sakura points toward the newcomers, curiously asking if Han finally managed to recruit a fresh face for the team. Our boy proudly introduces Zhu Fei and little Mu Qiu, officially bringing some much-needed backup into the fold. Sakura beams with excitement, realizing their ragtag mercenary group has officially grown to 4 core members. She doesn't waste any time, grabbing Han's hand and dragging everyone toward the interior to get down to business. Both Han and Takato look completely dumbfounded, wondering how she is already acting like she owns the place. Down in the lobby, Ju-Fei tries his best to keep the energetic kids from trashing the expensive estate. Sakura shoots a playful look back, telling Han it is time to see the real heart of their headquarters. The massive heavy doors slide open, revealing a hidden side of the mansion that no one expected to see. Taketo stands frozen in the high-tech command center, stunned that his uncle actually built something this insane. Sakura explains she set this up as a loan, expecting Han to pay her back with interest later. Han remains skeptical, questioning why she's suddenly so invested in their group and the kids. She admits that following her family's strict rules is just too restrictive, so she's officially joining their squad. Taketo gets way too excited, spotting a high-tech console and wondering what all these shiny buttons actually do. Sakura panics and screams for him to stay away, knowing exactly how dangerous this experimental tech can be. It's too late though, as our boy's curiosity gets the better of him and he slams the button down. He stands there looking like a total airhead, completely unaware that he just activated the facility's lethal defense system. A high-velocity projectile whistles past his ear with a bang, nearly taking his head off in the chaos. The stray shot slams into the floor, narrowly missing a staff member who's just trying to survive the day. Taketo is losing his mind, realizing his little experiment almost turned him into a human pincushion. Sakura sighs and explains that it's just a simulated firing device meant for high-level reaction speed training. The poor estate staff member is shaking in his boots, seriously reconsidering his life choices and career path. Seeing the absolute mess they're in, Sakura asks Han if they should finally hire a professional instructor. Han looks back and wonders if she's talking about Aunt Bai, the powerhouse they already know. Sakura clarifies that she's thinking of someone even bigger, the head instructor of her family and Aunt Bai's mentor. Our boy is naturally skeptical, worried about whether this mystery man can be trusted without causing more drama. She assures him the guy is solid since he's her god-grandfather and has been retired for years. Han finally gives the green light, so Sakura gets ready to bring the legendary veteran out of retirement. The group gathers in the training hall while the blonde student tries to squeeze in some last-minute practice. Sakura confidently announces that her god-grandfather arrives tomorrow, warning everyone to rest before the absolute hell begins. Hearing the words hellish training sends a shiver down the blonde student's spine as he realizes his doomed. He collapses to his knees in despair, mourning his peaceful life before the legendary instructor even shows up. The sun rises over the estate the next morning, marking the start of a very long day for everyone. Our boy and the crew wait in the lobby, but they're completely dumbfounded by the sight approaching them. The legendary veteran, Mu Renshin, rolls in looking like he survived a car wreck instead of a retirement home. The guys start whispering, wondering if this battered old man can even stand, let alone teach them anything. Sakura grills him, wondering if his trash-tier fishing luck is the reason he's covered in all those bandages. Sakura is horrified to learn her legendary god-grandfather ended up in a ditch after being caught by his wife. The old man just grins, claiming he only needs one limb to train these kids without accidentally killing them. Our boy and the others find him way too arrogant, considering they've already evolved past being ordinary humans. Sakura just smiles, backing up the veteran by saying his crippled state is still more than enough for them. The blonde student isn't buying the hype, thinking the old man is just talking big to save face. Mu Rengson's eyes sharpen as he calls out their cockiness, daring the young punks to actually try something. He singles out the blonde student, gesturing for him to step up and see what a real master looks like. Taketo walks forward confidently, warning the old man that his new physical stats might be too much to handle. Despite being stuck in a wheelchair, the veteran beckons him closer, practically begging the kid to take a swing.